And it's sad to me that so many people had already written it off before this season. They
Hmm.
didn't even get to experience the magic with all of that because it's in the first season too. Don't get me wrong. Like, it is, but like, this season just hits so different. And it's just so sad to think like how many people watched season one and it's just, yeah, it's not for me, but then didn't get to experience this part two. It's just, oh my Hey there, welcome to the Winx Forever podcast. I'm Lola, creator, host, and lifelong Winx fan. I'm taking a deep dive into the very cool universe of Winx Club. So whether you've been a Winx fan since 2004, like myself, or you vaguely remember it from your childhood, or even if you're being introduced to it for the first time, I want to say welcome. This is the Winx Forever podcast. Hello, fairy friends. Welcome back to another Fate Season 2 rewatch episode of the Winx Forever podcast. I am Lola Valentine, your host, joined, of course, by my awesome guest host, JustDaneDane on TikTok, Dane. We're finally to episode 3.
Right? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
This episode, just thinking about it, it's so good. Like, the stakes are high. There's so many things that happen. Things are not what they appear either. Like, we get thrown for several loops.
Throughout the entire episode, everybody
Yes.
it's like the ultimate gaslighting. I don't think I've ever seen a gaslighting like this. So,
Whole audience multiple times.
yes.
Yes, it's absolutely wild. So I'm really excited to dive into this episode. But first, let's recap episode 2 that we just watched. So in episode 2, we get the debut of Fate Flora. She comes to Althea to kind of surprise her cousins, Tara and Sam. And the Winx are also trying to investigate what happened to the student Devin, who appeared like out of nowhere and collapsed after he was missing for several days, if not weeks. Am I right? Like, he was like gone for a minute. Yeah.
Missing.
But yeah, but also Bloom and Sky had their little cute meet in his childhood home right before it casually went up in flames, thanks
Right,
to
yeah.
Andreas and Riven and Dane. Not this Dane, the Fate Dane.
You guys.
And then the episode ended with us learning that Saul Silva had broken into Althea in an attempt to visit Sky. And so now he is in Sky's bedroom, and that's where we left off. So the episode title for episode 3 is Your Newfound Popularity, which we will kind of get into. It's a very, I don't know, the episode titles of the season I think are so fun. And what they allude to in the episodes is very fun to kind of catch on to. You're like, oh, why is it called this? It feels like what an episode title should do,
Yes.
and it reminds me of like the 4 Kids dub episode titles. I know I feel like I've said that before, but
No, it's a good
it's
thing
so
to
good.
say. Yeah. I think that's one of the special things about Fate is they put a lot of thought into the titling of the episodes, the songs that we hear, like with the curated soundtrack. It's to a T. If you really dig into the history of all the music they use and everything, like you find so
Yes.
much. You're just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, we'll get
Ooh,
into it. So
absolutely. Awesome. Well, Dane, do you want to open us up with where we left off with Sky and Silva in in Althea in his dorm?
yeah, sounds good. So Sky notices that Silva is on school grounds and his surrogate father, per se, apologizes for what happened between him and Sky and tries to mend the
Hmm.
damage, but it's no good. Sky just straight up tells him to leave and never come back.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Saul's Sky, what can I do to mend this? Like, how can I? And 'cause Sky, you can leave. That would
yeah.
be helpful. I'm like, damn, Sky.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not
this
even
man
just
is
like
risking everything right now to come and talk to you, and you're just being a brat. I'm
right.
sorry. I get that this has been a traumatic experience with your bio dad not being dead and Saul Silva lying about how great he was, and he's actually kind
Hmm.
of a dick. But
Yeah.
come on,
Like
like
throwing
this
the
man.
sword.
Oh, I know. He like throws it at his
Oh my
head.
gosh, yes. And
Oh,
he's Silva's Andreas has always had somewhat of a temper after he's like talking about the house burning down, and Sky's like, oh
yes.
yeah, must have missed that bedtime story. Like the
Ooh.
passive aggressiveness, the anger that this poor kid has, of course,
Mm.
is just like through the roof. So
Yes.
it's to the point that Silva even compares him to Andreas. I've only been
Yeah.
gone for a few months and you're already starting to sound like him.
It's like that's gotta be like, I don't know if Saul knows that,
Hmm.
but it's obvious to the audience that that is a very poor jab at Sky, because even Riven's been making those comments throughout these
Yeah.
episodes. And so for also his surrogate father, so to speak, is saying that to him, he's like, well, shit, like this is not, I don't want to
Yeah.
hear this. Leave, get out of my room.
Right. So I don't think he's fully wrong, but also there's a time and a place, and maybe that's not the best thing to say to somebody who's so angry at you
Right.
too. De-escalate. Yeah.
Yes. This is not how you de-escalate. Exactly. Oh my God.
Nobody in
Yeah.
this show's a perfect person. It's a cautionary tale.
That's,
So
that's so true.
great example of that. But yeah, and then on top of that, I love that Sky is such a gentleman, or Sky is such a gentleman because he's recognizing that after everything Bloom did to break you out, and you're over
Yes.
here sneaking into Althea, like it's just
Yes. And that also shows his character too, of he's still not thinking about himself. He's
mm-mm.
thinking about Bloom, and he's thinking about, like, he's not even thinking, oh, my father figure is coming to see me and it's so like risky. That's, he must really love me. No, he's thinking about like how selfish this is on Silva's part because of everything that his girlfriend just went through, and she, like, is facing, she's like really getting close with Rosalind. Like she's facing a lot more like stakes, like with having to break out Saul. So the fact that he is still not thinking about himself even in that is, honestly, I give Fate Sky props, because Sky is trash as a character in every universe, but here I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah, he's
Fate
accessory.
Sky is,
Like,
yes, no,
yeah.
absolutely.
But they give him so much depth here. And I feel like even though he's still a little bit of a hard watch for a lot of people, I will say like he he has a good heart. I will say he's just such a
Yeah.
respectful young man. So
Yes, I
gotta give him
agree.
that. But
Totally. And
yeah.
also, you gotta appreciate too. I don't, no, you don't have to appreciate, but I appreciate the lengths that Faith the Wing Saga went to try to make him a thirst trap, with all the obligatory shirtless Sky scenes they include in this series.
Yeah, and he is. I'm gonna be honest, like the amount of workouts that Danny Griffin must have done in order to like
Mm-hmm.
look like that. Oh my gosh.
Like
Like,
it's a, you can tell like the work that they, all the specialists put in for this
mm-hmm,
season specifically. Like they trained even harder for this season, which is wild.
right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, crazy. Anyway, so yeah, so Silva steps out of Sky's dorm, and aren't they in like the everything hall?
Yeah,
The
I
hall of everything.
the hall of everything. That's kind of how it looks. Yeah, like that hallway
Yeah.
that we've seen like Rosalind move through. I think
Mhm.
it like kind of implies that he left the specialist wing and was like running through the school. Like they just cut
Yes,
the run sequence of leaving Sky's dorm. But I
totally.
will say when he left Sky's dorm too, we got a shot of Sky in the bathroom and you can see him like caress his chest like, oh, I can't believe I just said that. Like he was definitely feeling
Mm-hmm.
something
He was feeling
inside.
some type of way. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But Saul, trying to leave, runs into Andreas, and then magically, probably, Rosalind also appears and says, oh, there's like room in the East Wing, take him down there. And it's
Hmm.
just so dramatic, because now the audience thinks, oh damn, like what is going to happen to poor Saul? Is he going to become an experiment for Rosalind? That is what we're all thinking.
Her eyes
Oh
lit
my
up too
god.
at the very end, like when like
Mm-hmm.
she like before it cut to the yeah, cut to the intro. And on top of that, I
Mm-hmm.
will say I did notice that when Silva asks Andreas how he found him, Harvey is over there and he apologizes. And then Rosalind makes a comment about this is why I'm never having kids, or like something like that, implying that like
Yes.
Harvey is weak and he did it to protect his children and it's
Mm-hmm.
a liability. So
Yeah. I thought it
yeah.
was, I thought it was more so she was making that comment about Silva viewing Sky as a kid as
Yeah,
well,
that too.
you
Yes.
know? And so the links that Saul is going through to see his, non-bio kid, and she says that right in front of Andreas too, and the look on
Hmm.
Andreas's face, because like now we've got like this weird, I don't know, it's not a love triangle, but kind of like in a father-son love sort of way, because like it's, yeah, it's weird. The the lengths that like the show goes to like intertwine and intertangle these relationships is like bizarre.
Right.
Yeah. But meanwhile, Alfia is preparing for the upcoming, apparently, alumni banquet that didn't happen last year. Maybe it only happens like every 10 years or so. I don't know. We don't really. Oh, wait, no. What is it?
I think they
Well,
said
wait.
every few years it happens. I don't
Yeah.
remember,
It
but I
definitely
think they
didn't
said something
happen.
like that.
Yeah, like definitely wasn't important in the first season.
Mhm.
But yeah, so they're all preparing for this big banquet, and supposedly every important Althea graduate is going to come from the past 50 years. Like they're like it's kind of like a meet and greet almost for the current Althea students and also like the alumni. It's kind of like a oh meet all the like stars of Althea, people that like are esteemed alumni, but then but then Sebastian's there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's just very funny like that. I don't know. I feel like this I understand what this is doing for the plot, but I wish that it
Mhm.
would have been like a I don't know. It felt like it was shoehorned into here. I felt like it could have been like a little more set up better, especially in the earlier episodes, because we could have alluded to it. If this is such a big deal, we could have alluded to it like in the previous episodes
It
some
was kind of
way,
a
even just
surprise.
subtly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're just like, oh, like this is jarring. We're getting ready for this. Okay. But so Bloom and Aisha are out together in Blackbridge getting ready for this event. They're like shopping for different centerpiece items and stuff
Flowers and
for the
stuff. Yeah.
tables. Yeah.
Volunteering. And Bloom is not happy to be there either. She's kind of miserable doing it. And then Aisha's, well, why'd she volunteer for it? Like,
Yes, yeah. Which I hated Bloom's attitude in this scene. And in this
mhm.
honestly, what they did to Bloom's character in this season is was such an interesting choice because they kind of made her a whiny little brat know-it-all.
At times, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and what are we doing? We had such a good grip on who Bloom was, even though she didn't know who she was in
Hmm.
last season. The audience kind of got to know Bloom's character, and then I feel like in this season they kind of like flipped it on its head a little bit. Of the closer she gets to like finding out who she is, the like further away she gets from like her actual like how we know her. I feel
Hmm.
like maybe I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, so Bloom reveals to Aisha, well, I just wanted to come because I wanted to like go to Sebastian and like talk to him about like Saul or whatever. And I don't know. Is that to me that doesn't feel like Bloom. Even Fate Bloom. I know Fate Bloom is like a departure somewhat of the original Bloom and the Winx Club
Hmm.
series, but even here, like that just doesn't feel like something like, well,
Well, I would say think about season one Bloom, right? Where season one Bloom won't stop pestering Aisha about digging into all these answers.
yeah, that's
And
true.
then
That
and
is
then in
true.
this, at the beginning, I did notice that there was a little throwback to episode one where Aisha was like talking about, oh, we got to find Miss Dowling. What about this, and this? And
Yes.
then I thought it was kind of funny though, because when they pulled up to Sebastian's shop, Aisha's just like, we've got 10 minutes. That's all I'm giving you.
Yes.
She kind of
And
like played into the whole superhero antics that Bloom wanted to play.
yes.
So,
That also kind of plays into and I said that is kind of a departure from Wings Cold Bloom, but honestly no, because that is even like on par. I'm like over here like convincing myself that like of different scenarios. Like it's on par with like how Bloom was in season 1 of Winx Club at Cloud
mhm.
Tower. When she was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, let's go check out their library real quick," and Techno's like, "You've got 10 minutes." Like for real. It's so that's so funny. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm convinced.
I just also like the song in that scene too. Like when we see like the
Mm,
upper shot of Blackbridge, I love
yes.
that song. Elena Castillo, she has the song Parallel Universe, and she does another song for the show later as well. But I actually found this artist before I saw Fate. So when I
Oh,
heard the song, I was like, oh my gosh, no way.
how
But
cool. Ah,
right,
I love
good
that.
music. But yeah, I
Yes,
love
for
that
sure.
song. Fits the scene so well.
If you're enjoying this episode of the Winx Forever podcast, be sure to follow the show on your preferred streaming platform so that you're notified when new episodes are released.
Hey fairy friends, Lola Valentine here. In case you missed it, the Winx Forever podcast launched our very own Discord community. Discord has been a great place to connect with so many wonderful Winxers from around the world to talk about our favorite fairies. I wanted to try and recreate the magic of the original Winx Club online English forums from the old WinxClub.com website. So we've got forums where you can post your own topics and respond to others' posts in every Winx topic imaginable. Click the invite link in the description below to join the Winx Forever Podcast Discord community. And remember, the magic's in you.
So while they're at Sebastian's shop, he suggests that they should try and break the fairies out that Rosalind is keeping in the East Wing during the banquet. And so it's just like they're planning this huge heist, honestly. Like during this, like that, they have a huge plan. Oh, there's going to be, like, Sebastian's going to be with his fellow alumni, and Aisha's skeptical, as she should be. So Aisha's the only one in this whole show that's got like a good head on her shoulders. And even
she's always asking the what if, like.
Yes, and even with the whole Gray stuff later on, she should have trusted her intuition. She was so right. She was so right.
She's secretly a mind fairy. Like, it's her sub power. Like,
honestly, yes. Oh my gosh, yeah. But yeah, so Aisha is skeptical of this plan until Sebastian sarcastically suggests that, oh yeah, what's the big deal of like more fairies losing their magic? Man,
he's
like,
just so manipulative too. Like, watching it back, it's, you see how he's doing it, and it's just it gave me more respect for Sebastian once I saw it back. At first, on the first watch, I was like, oh, what the hell, what do you mean Sebastian's the bad guy? But now that I'm watching it back, I'm like, oh my gosh, wait. Oh yeah,
it's okay. I mean, it's been out for what?
Yeah,
a long time, like two years. When did this come out?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe I've waited this long to do a deep dive on this season, but I just couldn't. I couldn't handle it. But yeah, it's wild watching it back and knowing what we know now. I'm just like, man,
it's like a different show.
It is. It really, really is. And I feel like I'm kind of glad I waited to do this deep dive, because now having less of a like an emotionally charged response to it getting like canceled and stuff, or not renewed, and it coming at it with these fresh eyes, I think that it's just been like such a fun experience, especially like getting to discuss it with you too. It's just been like, anyway, so
it's been so much fun.
Yeah, and we have so much more to go, and it's exciting. So Aisha's skeptical. Oh yeah, Sebastian suggests that it won't be long before Rosalind goes after one of them, after one of the Winx suite members. And he warns them of the risks, but stresses that it's going to be harder to take Rosalind down. Wait, what?
He said something like it was going to be harder to take Rosalind down after the evening vote.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Like, once she's sworn in as headmistress, like, it's going to be like really difficult. So
that's so true.
It's like, oh, I wonder what the most powerful people in Solaria would think of Rosalind stealing magic from her students. And she's like over there just plotting.
Yes, but I hated that line. I hated her saying that whole, because it felt too long of a line for it to be in the cadence and the thought process that she was having. I was like, this feels like this line went on longer than it should have. Like, it like should have ended like a beat earlier. Like, it was just like it was way too long of a line. Oh my god. Anyway,
that's not the worst we'll hear from her. There were a few lines that they gave her later on that, oh my gosh. We'll get there when we get there, but
yeah, I agree. But Bloom asks Sebastian if he knows about Silva's whereabouts, and it's safer for everyone if they don't know. And Bloom is pretty shell-shocked that he even left entirely, which like
Mhm.
he's
I like
not
how
like he was
they
taken, but
Yeah, and I
yeah.
like how they do that too, like where they don't have a conversation between like Bloom and Sky over something like that. They just clue us in that they did by Bloom saying she talked to Sky and like Silva. He said that he told Silva to GTFO and he did. So yeah, I think there are a few important things to note from this conversation though. The
Yes.
vote not being a formality this time around, because like they said, oh, normally it's a formality, but this time because Rosalind hasn't been here for a while, it's like a vote is a really big thing. Yeah,
Does that remind you of anything
it does.
politically?
So yes, quite a few things. Sebastian's little line about, oh, not father and son relationships are complicated too, or not
That was
father,
so
not son
funny.
relationships. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked
Especially
that. I
knowing,
like go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, especially knowing his relationship with his father, who we assume is like Valtor Senior, right? Oh, I mean, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to say that.
Ooh,
We can
ooh,
cut that
ooh.
part. But yeah. But yeah. Something to take note of too is that in the Winx Club comics, issue 29, the Magic
Okay.
Tournament, there's like a whole thing that talks about like a voting system that took place. So the way, yes,
Yes.
yes. Okay. So the way this works is that there are 12 heads of the Magic's Council. And then there's also like a Magic's Council that is about 110 people total below the 12
Okay.
heads. And
Yeah.
in this comic, they take a vote on whether or not they should get involved directly in like worldly affairs or not. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess, what was I saying? One of the heads of the Magic Council is essentially like trying to hatch a plan to replace Farah and the other headmistresses because they don't agree with his stance on getting
Mm-hmm.
involved in worldly affairs. And so he's like trying to infiltrate the school system, and there's a whole story arc about it. And it's like literally what we see in season 1 and season 2 with the principal and the staff
Oh,
members getting replaced. And now we see this vote
yes.
that takes place, and then there's more that will come later from this comic as well throughout this
Oh my
episode. So
God.
yeah, just like a fun
Yes.
little nod to the source material.
I think it's so fun that they dove so deep into the comics for this. And
Agreed.
that how poetic is it that they referenced so much of the Winx Club comics, and now Fate is getting like a close to its story through a graphic novel. I think that that is perfect. I
Perfect.
think it's
Right.
perfect.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Was there anything else from the scene? Are we good on
I
that
I think
one?
that's pretty much everything. Yeah.
Okay, cool, great. So we see Andreas and Sky going back and forth in the interior courtyard, or the everything room, as we've been calling it, because truly it is everything that they want it to be, including a banquet hall, which is what they're transforming it into at the moment. And so they're unloading these specialists who should be probably training are unloading champagne for the banquet, and Andreas passes him hello, who am I? I sounded like Gollum. Okay, passes. Like crying. Andreas passes Sky 2 of the champagne bottles for him to take Riven and himself back to their dorm, because he says that they've both been in a bad mood and that champagne usually helps him like deal with his bad moods.
Yeah.
This was a very poor attempt at
Him saying sorry almost for what happened. Oh,
yes.
did Riven
We
fill you in on what happened at Saul's house? You mean my house? Yeah, I heard. Like the drama.
oh my
And the
gosh.
fact that Andreas is teasing him, like you just burnt the poor kid's house down. That's
No,
crazy.
you were in hiding for 16 freaking years, and you let this other man raise your kid while you were like raising this other orphan, and now you are teasing him about burning down his only home he ever knew. Also, what happened to
Cool.
their horses?
Oh
Are
yeah.
they
Yeah, what
okay?
about the horses? I didn't even think of that.
Oh my God.
Probably living off the
Uh,
land, I guess.
I
Like
hope so. Jeez. Yeah. I also I keep saying it, but I hate how just say everyone is about Sky's house burning down. Like when he mentioned it to Saul and Saul didn't react, he was just like, "Oh yeah, he's got a temper," and it's okay. And then
Yeah, so like if that were
like
to happen
this,
in the real world, oh my gosh.
oh my
No
gosh,
way.
even yeah, I don't know. And there's another like scene we'll get to late, like it's like the end of this episode, and I'm just like. I don't know. Oh, we'll get there, but I've got a
Yeah,
lot of issues with it.
right. I guess it doesn't help though. Like if you think about it, all of this is happening under Rosalind's direction, and she's kind of like in Queen Luna's ear, and there's not much Sky can do. Plus, he doesn't like talking about his problems. So,
That is so
you
true.
know, he's
Yes.
oh, my house burned down. I don't want to talk about it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh
Suffer in
my
silence, I
gosh.
guess. But oh,
Yeah.
sad.
So sad. But across the courtyard or the everything room, Kat is teasing Riven, who is struggling to find like a latch on the table that they're setting up because they're also in the everything room, helping
Hmm.
transform it into a banquet hall, saying that she guesses the rumors were true that the throuple like split and that it was too much for him and all this
Hmm.
stuff. And Riven insists that it just ran its course. That wasn't like it wasn't a big deal. Like also kind of running from his emotions and problems as well. Wow, they make such good roommates
Yes.
and friends. But she signals over to Dane, acknowledging that no one's told him that it's just not a big deal. Like Kat having the emotional intelligence, like that, yeah, Dane's not okay either. Maybe you should go talk
Hmm.
to like your ex and let him know, like, that you're not okay either. Like this Kat's over
Yeah,
here trying to encourage them to talk to each other and like
right.
in a very specialist way about it. But
She was
then
like, wait, what'd she say? Oh, did somebody tell him that? Like the way she
yeah.
said it was
Mm-hmm.
like assertive, and I love that about her.
I
She's like trying to
know.
clue him in, like this poor guy over here has no clue what's going on. And
Mhm.
Riven just rolls his eyes when they
I
lock eyes.
know.
So
Yeah. So sad. So sad. But then Kat walks by Tara and Flora, who are magically growing some plants for the event. And we get this cute little Kara moment. And it was so cute. But then it's interrupted abruptly by Harvey, like across the hall, dismissing a student who just broke like some of his like glass or whatever that like that he was carrying on a tray. And that's when Tara lets Flora know that like Harvey is like seemingly has lost some of his like spark that she said he had before all of this change happened in the school. And she says that she overheard her father on the phone with Malakoi Academy, which we all know what that's from.
yes, so
Ugh.
exciting to hear that. Like just the mention of it, it's okay. They're planting the seed if they ever want to use it.
Uh,
Oh, so
Do you think that
sad.
they'll go visit Harvey and Sam at Malakoi Academy in the graphic novel?
Possibly, I don't know. Like I hope so. So,
That'd be so cute. But of course, Malakoi Academy is the school in the comics. It's alluded to, but it's also alluded to in the later seasons, right? Of Winx Club. They go to Malakoi, right?
I don't know. I don't remember if they
And
visited
like,
Malakoi. I know they visited a lot of the other schools that
yeah,
eventually showed up in the comics as well, like around the same time.
no.
But they may have gone to Malakoi Academy. I don't think I've read that far in, though. The version of Avalon that I saw in the comics was like different when he first appeared too. So I think it's
Yes.
because it was like when they created the comics for the season two stuff, it was like before the show was done too. I could tell based on
Mm,
some of the art and some of the changes.
yeah.
And then they kind of skipped over certain things. So
Yeah. No. So yeah, you're right. It only appeared in like the comics. It was alluded to in the original series when Farragonda like introduces Avalon and like where he previously worked. So yeah, very, very interesting. And like the way I gasped when they said it on screen, I was like, oh
mhm.
my God.
I was like, oh, I
Like
remember that.
so funny. But she's but Tara is really like fearing for like her family's future at Althea at this point. She's kind of like nervous because this is all she's ever known. Like her and her
Hmm.
family. I do wonder where her mom is. We all do. It's like
Yeah, we
what is
don't hear
going
anything
on,
about
but
that. So
yeah, okay. That's fine. Meanwhile, Gray and Aisha are having this very awkward moment when Aisha comes to help Sam and Musa with some silverware, and they're like, "Oh, we already have help." And then Gray appears, and it's just like the most like she's sitting on his like jacket. He's, "Oh, I'm just gonna leave," and he's trying to get. I was just like,
yeah, she's like, I can get up. It was so painful to watch. I loved it. I loved every
it
minute
was
of how painful that
perfect.
was. I was
It
like,
was so good. They did their job.
yes.
Yes, absolutely. And Sam and Musa are kind of like laughing at what just happened. And then when Rosalind walks by them, Sam kind of like his whole demeanor changes, right? And Musa notices.
But he's
And
masking it, he's hiding it. And
oh,
yeah,
yes.
she's like really smart because she's got her powers and she can feel it
Hmm.
whether she's on or off, like with her magic,
Yes.
like that he's not telling the truth. So
Mm-mm. Yeah, and it's really sad, and she's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go check on Gray if he's okay from what
mhm.
like just happened."
And he's all, I gotta
The
go get a
awkward moment.
shower. And yeah, you can just see right through it. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And so Musa tells Aisha that he's just putting on this facade of like happiness when he's really just full of rage that she can feel without even using her magic directly. And is it this part that she says that she's stopped taking his emotion away from him, like when he's angry? Does she tell Aisha that yet?
I don't remember if she says
I can't
anything.
remember either.
I
Yeah.
don't think she says anything about not doing it, but I think
Mm-hmm. I think that
there
comes
that
later.
part does come up again later with Tara.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. This whole I have okay. I'm gonna preface this with I love Fate the Winx Saga. I think it's for the live action Winx adaptation that it is, I think that it is great.
Yeah,
Obviously.
like
I wouldn't be
they
doing a
obviously
deep
make,
dive.
yeah, right. When in the realm of teen dramas, young adult fiction, like between Teen Wolf, The Vampire Diaries, it's up there. Like it is, I would
Yes.
say, as somebody who's seen the other ones, like obviously I'm a little bit biased because I love the Winx Club, but like I feel you on that. Like it's good for what it is, but at the same
Mhm.
time, there were certain things that like could have been
Mhm.
better. So
And this thing that I'm about to
mhm.
say could have been better. So why? Why are all of these students and faculty and everything, why are they setting up for this big banquet? Like, why do we not see air fairies using their powers to hang decorations and sort? We have magic, people. What are we
Yeah,
doing? Why is Riven struggling to find a latch on this table? It could be done with magic. This could all be done with magic.
right. This could be
We
done
could
so
just
fast
we
too.
could just snap our fingers. The whole place turns into a banquet hall. Done. And then these seemingly important conversations that are happening while these characters are like setting up silverware, doing flower arrangements, whatever the freak. These could have been done elsewhere doing something else. Like we could have had these important conversations in the Winx suite, in the cafeteria, like on a
Hmm.
school day. Make it feel more like a magic school, not like just a
Yeah.
little shack that we're like painting to make it look like a magic school. I don't know. It's just it was so hard and so unbelievable for me, especially it being a Winx Club adaptation, because even then, if they wanted to make the characters have to interact in this way, I wish that they would have made sense, as in the series, if they were doing something like this without magic, it would have been a punishment for some reason. Like I wish that
Hmm.
like they were all in detention doing this, and like that would have introduced like Riven's character to the group so much better, rather than just like in the next episode like they're all cutting up and like having a great time, Riven included. He's never like that. He's never been like that this whole
Mm-mm.
series. And so that would have been like such a good little like Breakfast Club moment. And we didn't get it. And I'm so mad about it. Like, I'm so mad
Right.
about it. It would have been perfect because of what is that? Like season 1, episode 6, 7, where all of them are like dancing and like cleaning like the mess hall or not the mess hall, like the grand hall of Althea together. Like
Yeah,
that
like when
would
they
have
lost their
been
powers. Yeah.
yes, that would have been such
Yes.
a better Oh my God. And so easy too. There, because the Winx didn't have powers in that episode. Like they didn't even need to, you know what I mean? Like it was not even a special effects
Mm-mm.
excuse me. It's like a just, I don't know, like they didn't, why did they not think of that? Oh my
I guess
God.
I think
Anyway.
part of it like could be too that like Fate doesn't overdo the magic like what we see. And I don't want to say Winx Club overdoes it because I love
No,
seeing it.
yeah.
I love seeing it in the
Mhm.
comics. I love seeing it on screen when
Mhm.
Stella's changing everybody's
But
outfits. But I think
yeah,
it's also if it gets too fantastical, it's no longer believable for the young adult format. I think that's what they were afraid of,
that's so
which
true.
I get it, but at the same time, it still would have been cool to see some magic use. Like you said, the air fairies hanging things
Oh,
up. And we do see
yes.
Laura and Tara growing plants for the event.
Yeah.
But what about everybody
Yeah.
else? Everybody else is
Come
just
on.
relegated to doing, well, I guess it makes sense for music because she's a mind fairy, but like
But like mind
we,
fairies, like
yeah.
show us like some other practical ways that mind fairies
Hmm.
can be useful because Musa has struggled with that this whole time. Even if it's just, I don't know, even if it's just like in the next episode, we'll talk about it in the next episode, but even if it's Aisha was holding the shot glasses for their Irish car bomb drinks and
Hmm.
like at the pub and she was doing that with her magic. Like let's like make Musa's mind fairy magic a drinking game. Like
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. That's just
Like
so easy.
they save it for the fun stuff. They don't,
I
I don't know. Yeah,
know.
I feel that though. I totally agree with you that like they could have done a little bit more with the powers like that.
Yeah,
But
but that's okay. I
yeah.
digress for now.
I think there
Awesome.
is something interesting that we didn't get to like really see too, but they did mention in season one, Farrah mentioned that like the all the fairies can master the other elements later on.
Yes,
I wish that we
yes.
would have seen something like that too, especially with like convergence and all that. But yeah.
The convergence. Yes.
So then we see Stella and Bloom in the upper corridor, and we find out the night is split into two events. Like Stella's debriefing Bloom on like how it works. So the mixer is like where all the alums and the students like chat together and kind of mingle, and then the banquet itself is just for the alums and the VIP, the people taking the vote.
Yes.
Stella, naturally a VIP without her mom attending, he says Uncle Arthur will be there instead of Queen Luna. And he's like somebody who sees people for who they are. So he's
Oh
not a fan of
yeah.
Rosalind either. At least so we think. So we think. Okay, that's part of this episode's wild gaslighting is that we think these things that
Yes.
sometimes do not turn out to be like what we originally think they are. So,
I know. Yes. Oh my gosh.
but
And
oh
go
wait,
ahead.
what? Oh, I was just gonna say,
Uh,
like, I love that, like, we expected to see Queen Luna there, but there's this little mix-up, and I really wonder, was the mix-up just because they wanted to offer some variance in writing to like kind of have that like realism
mhm.
and like a minor detail type of thing, but or is it like is it that the Queen Luna actress couldn't attend that episode or something, so they swapped her out? Like, I do
Ah,
wonder how that all went down, but it's a nice little touch though that sometimes things change in the real world.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that that's good. I also think that it like shows Stella in her like princess duties, like going instead of her mom, like sort of thing. It's just very, I don't know, that to me is realistic. And even though Stella is a minor and going to school, this is something that she can do a princess like obligatory appearance
Mm.
even while she's at school, which is nice.
Yeah, she still is the princess. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
that's like something that like we don't really think about much. It's a
In
little bit more
Fate.
blended. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But then we cut to a scene in the East Wing lab where we see Rosalind injecting, like, ew, a rat with this dark pink liquid before feeding it to a captured creature in the metal observation tank that she just, like, casually has down here.
Scary
And
looking tank,
she
by the way. Like
it's
not your
so
typical fish tank.
scary. No,
So
definitely not a fish tank. It is like made, it's enforced for
and it's
something much
foggy.
bigger.
Yeah.
Disgusting. It looks like the Shadow Realm from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Hmm.
Inside of it. Oh, disgusting.
Which I guess makes
Oh.
sense for the climate that this creature is from.
Oh
So
my gosh. Wait. Yes?
that is oh,
That's kind of
mm,
crazy.
right. Like now that I
What?
didn't think about that before, but now we're thinking about it. So yeah, and on top of that too, she smiled when the creature ate when the creature ate that rat and lit up to the color of the same liquid that she just injected it with, she
Weird.
figured something out. Yeah. Like she
Hmm.
was like, okay, okay. And we know what that is, but yeah.
Yeah, cogs are
Uh,
turning.
right.
Ugh.
And then we see Andreas enter in his fancy suit and then they head off to the banquet. But there is something to take note of here. Before they leave, before she closes the infamous, well, actually, it's kind of famous at this point, the leather bound book, the camera shot is like of a magnifying glass zooming in on the page. And
Yeah.
we see the dead trees in the background, a river, and the creature that's in the tank is all over the page in multiple creatures
Scary.
attacking people. So,
Scary.
right.
It's, yeah, oof,
So
man.
that's like wherever that is on that page, we're getting a little bit of what it would look like. And oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
yes. Man, that's wild. Crazy. I love that. If you're enjoying this episode of the Winx Forever podcast, be sure to follow the show on your preferred streaming platform so that you're notified when new episodes are released.
For the big day of the suite with like numerous influential figures arriving at the gates. And like Aisha's just like looking out the window, admiring it all. And
Yeah.
back inside, Bloom deduces that, she should go to the East Wing herself, as if she gets caught, she can like easily worm her way out with Rosalind, which I think is like reasonable. It makes sense as
That's
to why she would
fair.
do. I loved Aisha's conversation starters, the little cards that she made.
Yes.
And then Flora was like, "Oh, you made note cards. These are so cute." And then something else I liked about this scene is like when they're talking about Duke Hammerstrong, they're like, because Bloom, who the hell is Duke Hammerstrong?
Yeah.
She's got her goofy
Hello.
little attitude, and they break it down for Bloom like that he's like the Jeff Bezos of the other world, and he created a system like you think it, you buy it, kind of a nightmare, and he's got like a monopoly on otherworldly goods. But this, I know it's like an earthly reference, but also breaking that down for Bloom so she gets it. And then on top of the fact that like we do hear about this character later in another episode,
Oh.
and what happens to him is like when you realize like what happens to him, you're like, oh, so that's what that would be like if it happened in the real world. I
Oh
don't think I want to
no.
say it like in the course of this
Yeah.
conversation, but yeah, I was just like, when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's terrifying,
I'm excited. I don't
right?
I can't think of what you're referencing yet, but I'm excited to get there. Oh my God.
Back in this week, when Stella is talking about, oh, because Blooms, are there no other jobs? Are there no normal jobs in the other world? And Stella's like,
Yeah.
I mean, there are, but like, not from the people who typically go to this school because this school is the best. I
Yeah.
love that because in the same comic that I mentioned earlier, comic 29, there's a scene in
Yes.
the seat, or there's a scene in the Wink Storm where Stella's breaking down like how the Magic Council works. Like, yeah, was it the Magic? Yeah, how the Magic's Council works, and like that the best school, or what she say? There's a magic tournament that takes place, and the
Mhm.
best school, or the one that's determined to be the best school, gets like more funding, and they get to go on like a trip,
Oh.
and they get like honors and stuff, right? And the magic tournament that takes place later is also very reminiscent of kind of like how they're talking about replacing the headmistresses, because that's what it's normally.
Yes.
You know how it's like
Yeah.
normally a formality that they vote to swear her in,
Oh,
but now it's like
a
a,
big deal.
yeah, like an actual
Yeah.
vote. In this Magic Tournament comic, they say that, or Farragonda mentions that this time around, that, and the Winx overhear it, but Farragonda's, oh, if we don't win, then they're going to ask me to resign as headmistress. Yes, I'm just
I just
like,
have chills. Oh my
oh my
gosh.
gosh. So, like, they took that and then put it up to 100 for this. And I'm just like, oh my
Yes.
gosh. And then on top of
Wow.
that, too, we see Aisha talking about Amy Leroy when she's reading off of her note card, and she's doing her little practice conversation. And she's just like,
Yeah.
your theory on elemental fluid mechanics. Like, I thought about it when I was pouring my tea today.
Yes.
And so,
Can all be winners.
right. I thought that was so cute. But Amy Leroy, when we actually see her later in this episode, this will all come back into play. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, absolutely. So the Winx suite is all like having a great time getting ready for this big banquet and like this mixer that they're gonna get to meet all these famous otherworld people when they hear a knock at their suite door and Stella opens the door to Beatrix, who is offering her pre-drink drinks. And she's holding a proudly stolen bottle of alcohol from Rosalind's office, to which Stella, this just breaks my heart. Stella looks back into her suite before returning, like to Beatrix and saying like she's a bit busy, like I'm sure Riven's free. And then Beatrix like remembers that she hasn't told Stella yet that they broke up. Like she's like coming to her only friend at this time, and like it breaks my heart. But she is like trying to tell her, oh yeah, I think we're over after I ratted him out to Rosalind, and like Stella's just cuts her off, just kind of like disregards like what she has to say, and is I'm sorry, I don't have the time right now. And like Sadie Soberall's face
Oh
as
my gosh.
Beatrix
I know.
breaks my heart.
I'm getting
Like
chills just thinking about it because like when she like looks into the suite, like we see what she sees for a minute with the camera, and then and it's on top of the fact that when she says and then Stella goes, I'm sorry, and it cuts off right there. And she's trying to form a friendship, like she's trying genuinely, and in that moment, because of that, like that's had that moment gone differently, I really think Beatrix's entire character could have gone differently from that very moment.
like
But
if Stella had invited her inside,
mhm.
think of the I have chills. Think of the impact that would have had.
Right. But also, I think because of Beatrix entering the suite previously with how she entered the room in a dressed bloom, I'm not surprised. Like
That's
it's
true. That's true.
yeah, it goes into like her conditioning as a human being, really, that she's very guarded. And it's just because she
Mm-hmm.
was raised that way. And it's so sad. Like
Ugh.
that's what like pains me about this show, because like when you really go into the motivations and then also kind of like the assumed background knowledge of how these people
Yeah.
grew up, like it's it's just so sad.
It's really freaking sad. And God, later on in the season, I'm not gonna spoil anything,
Mm-hmm.
but the moment,
Mm-hmm.
I can just picture Beatrix being like, well, no, I even came to you and I needed it, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, you know what I mean? But like it was too late. It was too late.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we'll get to that in a later episode, but oh sheesh, it's so much.
That's what I
Oh.
love about the show, just like the humanized aspect, because like, you feel those emotions when you see it, and you like that's the magic of Winx, just the way it immerses you in the stories. And like I
Yeah.
think this show does that on a level that is so intense that obviously I don't think everybody can handle it. Like I'll be so honest, like
Yeah.
there are definitely people who can't handle a show like this,
Yeah.
but I think I would always eat up the drama and the just the emotional gut punches
Mhm.
of the original Winx Club, and I love that
Oh.
aspect of this. So
Yeah. And it's sad to me that so many people had already written it off before this season. They
mhm.
didn't even get to experience the magic that like how they upped the ante in this season with all of that, because it's in the first season too, don't get me wrong, like it is, but like this season just hits so different, and it's just so sad to think like how many people watched season 1 and it's just yeah, it's not for me, but then didn't get to experience this part 2. It's just oh my
Right,
gosh, so sad
yeah,
to those people.
for
So
real.
sad.
And I think for Winx fans too, a lot of us really like season 2 more than season 1. Like I think that
Mhm.
seems to be the general consensus.
Yeah.
But I will say some of the people that are in my day-to-day life that watched Fate, what never seen Winx Club, right?
Yeah.
They were like, well, season 2 felt so different than season 1. And I'm just like, oh no. It's just okay. So there's like a disconnect there too. But
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you can't win.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing. I feel like either way, it wasn't not that it wasn't going to be successful, but I feel like either way, they weren't going to win on one side or the other,
Yeah.
And so I feel like they played a pretty safe bet trying to make something that appealed to a larger audience than just a niche fandom.
I agree. And I think
Fair.
that, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
Like it's a business decision. Ultimately,
mhm.
it's a business decision.
What will
And
sell the best throughout like
yep.
the yeah. I will say something that going back to that though, I did notice that when they were developing Fate too, a lot of people said
Mm.
something about the outfits, right? The outfits were like a total miss. That was such a big part of the Winx. But I will say, why didn't they set the stage like Euphoria or things like that? It was being written
Yes.
before Euphoria had even come out.
Yes.
So it's like the impact hadn't
Exactly.
fully. By the time Euphoria made its splash, Fate was already so far into production with storyboarding and writing and things
Mm-hmm.
like that that like it was just not thought into the whole
Yeah.
project. So,
I
you
know.
know,
Yeah, Fate was alluded to like in what? Like 2017?
yeah, 2017. That
Like
was like the
that's
earliest, and that was just
yeah.
rumors,
Hmm.
like rumors and surveys. Like it
Oh,
was, yeah.
that's
So,
crazy. Do you know who Mike Pecorello is?
no.
He worked as a producer on and writer on Ultraman Tiga and Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay.
And in the 4Kids days, he also worked for Nickelodeon for a long time and is in children's media.
Hmm.
But I just listened to the 4Kids flashback podcast
Oh
episode with
yeah.
his interview. So Tara Sands and her co-host Steve Yurko, they interviewed Mike, and it was really interesting to hear him talk about where he thinks not just children's media but media in general is going, and how like right now we're in this weird time of people are uh putting more bets on safe shows like this that appeal to broader audiences than very niche ones. And you're seeing that a lot with all these sitcoms and things like that too. But it makes sense that Netflix made this safer bet with Fate the Winx Saga and wanting to appeal to that broader audience. But also, they also made a point too in that interview of saying how 4Kids started as a licensing company, like licensing like lunchboxes and toys and all this stuff, and how 4Kids was always so licensing first, and they were very much like, how can this IP that we're going to license like sell merch, how is it going to make
Hmm.
us money? And Mike was talking about how, well, because he was at Nickelodeon before he was at 4Kids, and so he went from Nickelodeon to 4Kids. If that tells you anything about the entertainment industry at the time, like 4Kids was ahead of the game with
Hmm.
that. And so the fact that Mike even says now that's what everyone wants to do. Everyone wants to be like, how can we license products for a show? And so I feel like a lot of those decisions are made based on that. And so with Fate, it's wild to apply that like same type of like thought process of these are all the things that go into considering renewing shows, even producing new shows.
Hmm.
Like it's really wild time. And they also talked about how like everything's cyclical. It'll probably come like back around to that. Will like it'll be less about the licensing stuff. For now, we're kind of like in that like era again of where 4Kids was back 20 years ago. Because 20-year cycles, like we're
Yeah.
we're in it. We're in it. So
And that's a good point too, because I feel like they did not take advantage of, and I mean this so respectfully, if there's
mhm,
anybody listening that is anybody listening on the Winx team, I feel like there were not enough Fate products
mhm,
in terms of like consumer goods. Like I saw they tried to do makeup and there were some niche clothing lines that were done and they weren't really released on like a global scale, the
yeah,
books, but like I feel like
mhm,
it was not the 360-degree Winx licensing that we saw
yeah,
previously.
yeah.
And I think that like I heard there were canceled Fate dolls that did not come out. Yeah. I haven't seen what they look like, but I heard the packaging was green. And yeah, it's like really
Yeah,
sad. I just feel like
yeah.
there were definitely like missed opportunities there too. Like I didn't understand how like they were making their money, I guess. Were they driving traffic for people to watch the show on Netflix? It's such a
I
mystery.
think that the entire thing was just a ploy by the Visitor Bureau of Ireland to get people to visit Ireland. They're like, look at how pretty our
Yeah.
country
Look
is.
at these
Come
pretty
visit Ireland.
waterfalls. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Maybe. Who knows? I mean, that would make
Come
sense too,
frolic
because
through our fields.
yeah, And it was cheap for them to do everything there too. So
They owned all the freaking studios and stuff.
Mhm.
Anyway, but yeah,
Yeah.
rip.
But yeah, that was like the fatal flaw. So
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, back to the episode.
yeah, it's a little tangent. So we see Riven and Sky in their dorm before getting ready, cracking jokes, followed by Riven venting about Rosalind and Beatrix. And then afterwards, Dane awkwardly enters the suite and Sky excuses himself to go shower. And they kind of share like a little look of, oh gosh, like this is
Oh,
awkward because, you know, their previous
yeah.
exchange. And Riven fills Dane in that there is no we, there never was, before giving him a tap on the chest that they're just buds.
Oh, so sad.
Right. And honestly,
I don't know for who though. Like
yeah,
it's sad for both of
like
them.
it's just so, yeah, and it just gets worse like over the course of the season too, because this is not the end of it.
Yeah, yeah. We thought this
No.
is another gaslighting moment. We thought it was
Mhm.
done here. We thought it was
Yeah.
like this was it.
Nope, it is not. Number one, he just gets drunker throughout the scene. The things that were coming out of his mouth here. Oh my gosh. Something about Fate Riven is that he will ride the line of edgy and offensive and cross in between both just so nobody can get him. And I feel
Mhm.
like Sky was just like, I what did
Yes.
Sky say? He was like, "Do you think that's funny?" Like something
Yes,
like that. He
yes,
was just
yes.
like, he just straight up called him out. Don't talk about Bloom like that. You're talking about the fairy who transformed. Show her some respect. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
I love Sky
no.
for that he's not gonna let that necessarily slide. Like he's gonna say something.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Keep him in his place a little.
yeah. Just
Call him out
wild.
a little. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Ugh.
Riven. I do appreciate this take on Riven though, because he's not just like a broody little boy for no reason, really.
He's a proper
Like
delinquent here. He really
proper
is.
delete, yes, like just for fun sometimes, or
Mhm.
most of the time.
Yeah.
I think in the original series, Riven is like such a good character, and here he's just a fun character. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he's here to just like fuck shit up. Like honestly,
He pokes
he's here.
buttons. Yeah.
He does, and it's just very funny to me.
For real. But like this whole scene, like that whole breakup too, is just so sad because it's like it makes you wonder, did Riven really like Dane, or did he just
Mhm.
care that did he just like the attention? Was it just that Beatrix
Yeah.
was in the mix? I think that that's a really important thing to note, that there were so many alternate takes for Fate, and then they kind of mashed it all up, and like some of the people on that set let it slip that there was a Divin kiss cut from season 1,
Man.
and that whole storyline was a little bit different. So it makes me wonder with season 2 writing it a little bit differently too, if they just finally solidified on a direction. But it's also, it comes off as messy during the editing at times, because you're like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
thought it
it
was going
does.
somewhere and then it doesn't, and then it's up.
Right.
So,
No,
and
yeah,
this is
and I
confusing. Like, how are you going to make out with
yeah.
Dane in front of Beatrix and then say, oh, it was just because she was there? Come on.
Yeah, right. Come on,
Yeah.
man. I think
But
that
maybe
you're
that's something that
like,
we would have
yeah.
found in like season 3 too. Maybe we would have explored that later. We don't know.
Yeah,
So,
that's so
but yeah, like when Riven did kiss Dane, he even took control of the kiss at one point. So I don't know if I
Mhm.
really buy what Riven is saying here. I think he's
No,
just,
right. And I don't think that he even buys it for himself.
mm-mm.
And
I
that's
think
why he's
it's,
still just talking. Like he's still
yeah.
talking, trying to convince himself.
Mhm. Yeah.
Ugh,
And like with Riven's homophobic gay bashing in season 1 that Beatrix called him out on, oh, you're gonna make him feel bad about himself. Like maybe
yeah,
it's that with Beatrix in the mix, it's more like openly acceptable for their dynamic, but he would never do that
yeah.
with like just Dane. So that could be
Right.
like the other side of it too.
That's
But
true. Yeah.
yeah,
Wild.
just wild. And then again, of
Ugh.
course, like back to this scene, the casual talk about burning down the house. Like
I cannot. I can't. I'd be so pissed at my friend if he burnt down my whole house.
right? Like
Why is
that's,
this not a bigger deal?
oh, I guess I don't live there. Also, like Riven's and all, your house wasn't that great anyways.
That's him getting more drunk in the soda. Come on. What are we doing?
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
It's just wild.
Yeah. But then elsewhere in Alfea, we see Musa in Sam and Gray's room with Gray reviewing his little note cards too that he also made for the event, just like our girl Aisha. And so she asks if they're about the alums, and he's yeah, actually, like it helps me like organize my thoughts. And she does clue him in into Aisha does the same thing, and he's that's cute. Like
Yeah,
it's adorable. I love that.
it's so
And
cute.
yeah, but she does say to him, normally she wouldn't say this, but if she couldn't literally feel other people's emotions, she would just stay out of this. But Aisha like 100% is into him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so cute. That's so cute.
Right. Also, like the way she just looked up at the sky, like when he was talking about the note cards, and she's just, it's like a moment of fate, like, oh, fated lovers together. I
Cute.
love
Oh,
that.
yeah. But Gray exits the room happily after this news from Musa. And Musa is like just waiting for Sam to get ready. And she's sitting on his bed and is trying to not
Decompress
let
with
the
music, yeah.
intrusive fault,
Yeah.
not let the intrusive thoughts win, but they win. And she's like looking over at his bag. I know there's something up. I know like he's plotting something. Like, cause she knows she's a mind fairy. She knows.
Yeah, she's not dumb.
And
She literally can feel it. There's no pondering here. It's she
mm-hmm.
knows.
She freaking knows. So she's like, all right, let's look in his bag, I guess. So she looks in this guy's bag, her boyfriend's bag, just like rummaging through it. And she finds the Eldwin amalgam and a syringe with it. And she gets caught by Sam looking through his stuff. And he doesn't like that she was just rummaging through his things. That is a complete trust breakdown. Oh my God. But he also doesn't know the other side of it. He doesn't know what she knows. He thinks that he
Mhm.
means sneaky. He thinks that I can hide stuff from my
Yeah.
mind fairy girlfriend. That's not a problem. But he's also not in the right headspace.
Mm-hmm. And
Right?
that goes into this too. Not only is she
Yeah.
going through his stuff, like going through his stuff is like one betrayal. On top of that, when she comes clean about everything, like that she's been taking away his anger for weeks and she didn't realize it was going to
Yeah.
affect him so badly and it's been building and it's her fault and that whole spiel, like he's just like, not having it. He's just
Mm.
don't touch me. Like you've
Yeah.
been messing with my head. You've been messing with my head and you didn't tell me. It's just oh,
Oh.
massive betrayal. I don't blame him for the way he reacted in that moment. On
Yeah.
top of the fact that,
Yeah.
he's quite literally emotionally unstable. So,
Yes, he is.
but
It's the energy that Jacob Dedman is exuding for Sam in this scene is just
he's such a
like,
good actor.
oh,
Like,
so incredible.
oh my gosh.
I loved the scene for that. It also gave me very strong like Bilbo Baggins vibes when he's trying to be protective of the ring in Lord of the Rings, and it's just like a snap. And we've seen this snap like several times, especially when Musa like takes his anger away. Like we see like him like being paranoid, but then snap and like he's fine. And this is the opposite. Like everything was fine, and then like it's not. So it was
Mhm.
just the jarriness of this scene. Ugh, is so good.
Really good.
But then we get to the best in this freaking episode. All 6 of the girls just walking into the banquet together,
Well,
right?
everybody except for Musa, right?
Oh, damn. Yeah, you're
I
right.
don't think we see Musa.
She's dealing with other stuff.
Yeah.
Trying not to like
Yeah.
let her boyfriend become a murderer. Oh, that's so true. Oh my God. But yeah, but like the slow-mo entrance of the 5 Wink Suite members, and they all look stunning. Stunning. I mean, all of them, except why did they do our girl Tara that way? Like
I don't know.
they could have put her in a sophisticated suit and it would have
Mhm.
been oh, Elliot dresses that way anyway. She
Elliot's
dresses
suits
that
are
way.
so nice, and I'm just
She
like, why did
dresses
they give her
so
this
good.
one? Oh yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, like when they were doing the press tour, she had such amazing outfits, so I'm just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
could not tell you.
So
But
sad.
I loved everybody else. I even liked Aisha as the green. I was just like, okay, like
Yes,
that looks so
very chic.
good.
Oh, it was so good. And like they're all so pretty. Oh my gosh, it's great. And
The
like I love Flora's
platforms.
dress. Oh my God, yes.
Bloom is
Oh,
walking in the tallest shoes I think we've seen in the entire series. Like
so
they are,
cute. Which like how tall is Abby?
I don't know.
She's 5'7", so she's like an inch shorter than me. So like
Okay.
tall-ish, like average for a lady,
Hmm.
I would say. So, but yeah, and like her hair, how long it is and how pretty.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, the blue
when she's
dress is just
talking to Rosalind, she like puts her all of her hair over her shoulder when she's walking. I'm like, girl, your curtain of hair is just like
hmm.
gorgeous. I have hair envy, like for sure.
That must be so
Oh,
special for them to like be able to say, "Oh, look at this like piece of media and look at how good we look."
I know.
Like,
Yes.
right? Like I would it's a
Jeez.
screenshot, it's going on like a banner somewhere. Like I don't know. Like that's just
Oh,
oh, amazing. I love
yeah,
that. Like the
but
cinematic moment there is just
yes.
great.
It's so cute. It gave very much the same vibes of like season one when Bloom walks into the dance,
Hmm.
and it's just like everyone, oh gosh. It was like that like time stops moment.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It's so
We get like
good.
a Rosalia song in the background too, and it's just like the
Yes.
modern music is everywhere. So
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. They ate that. I love it. But of course, Rosalind shows up and immediately takes Bloom and decides like that she should stay by her side the entire evening. And she, of course, is being used as like her star pupil, like just a little show thing. Like it's Rosalind's like show and tell item.
hmm.
And Bloom is immediately thrown into the line of fire by meeting like all of these big names in the magic world, and she's introducing all these people, and Bloom's, well, what if I don't want to?
Hmm.
She's
Yes,
like trying to be
yes.
all big and bad against Rosalind, which like she cannot like out bad
Oh
Rosalind.
my
Rosalind is a
gosh.
terrible character. Like she's awful. And
She'll
so
get rid of you. And
yeah,
we
yeah,
we
like she
know
like
what Rosalind's plans were for Bloom. She couldn't do
oh
if Bloom really wasn't gonna if Bloom really wasn't going to be cooperative. I mean, Rosalind had her own backup plan. So
and we see that later on.
yes,
We
yes, we do.
do.
I love this entrance scene though. Like when they enter and Bloom is like, okay, guys, here's the plan. Like she's given the breakdown, and then all of a
And
sudden
then
Rosalind appears.
uh,
It's just like, oh, like did
oh,
Rosalind hear all
hello.
that? Like what just
Yeah.
happened, right? And then I
Oh.
noticed that like Rosalind, she had to have read like books on manipulation or something because she's over there using her hand to guide Bloom, and we see the camera like focus on that. And it's not the first time she does it, like
Mm-hmm.
throughout, or no, it's the first time we see her do it, but like it's not the
Not
last
the
time she does it.
last.
So
Yeah, yeah.
and then of course everybody breaks off into their pairs. We get like some cute Flora and Aisha arm in arm, like that little like season two moment with
Yes,
them.
yes, yes, yes.
Uh,
I was about to say that.
I
Yes.
love that. So
Uh, yeah. And I also love too the role reversal of Fate and Aisha, or Fate Aisha and Fate Flora versus Winx Aisha and Winx Flora, because
mhm.
in Winx it's Aisha that's encouraging Flora about a relationship she's not sure of, and in Fate it's the opposite. It's just like
Yes.
it's
Oh.
beautiful that it's this pairing that I'm just like
Mhm.
they knew what they were doing. They knew
They
what they were
really
doing.
did.
Oh my
Like,
God.
and I just love that we don't, because I feel like the best friend dynamics in the suite early on in the Winx Club, I correct me if I'm wrong, but it was kind of confusing for trying to figure out, are Flora and Musa best friends, or are
Yeah.
like Aisha and Flora best friends? What's going on with Aisha and Musa? But
Hmm.
then I kind of realized, you know what? They all have their
They're
own
all
dynamics.
friends.
What I like about Fate is that even Bloom and Stella aren't like thought of as the best friends. They're all friends. Like
Yeah, they're
they're
all
all friends
friends
in
and they
their own
all have
ways.
their
Yeah.
individual friendships within
Mhm.
the friend group. And I think that's Winx,
Yeah.
like that
So
is Winx Club.
yeah.
Hello. I love it.
Something to add to this is that like when Rosalind and Bloom were climbing the stairs, you actually see Beatrix enter. If you are watching in the background, she walks in and
Yes.
she kind of looks around and then she moves. And then like when we get to the sky bridge, Bloom's whole thing, like you said, oh, I thought only VIPs
Mm,
were allowed at the banquet. And you're
mm.
the first fairy to transform. How much more IP can you get? Um, but that bridge scene too, like the Bloom is really like
Mhm.
on fire, like trying
Yeah.
to start a problem because you know what? Uh Rosalind just straight up calls her out. Oh, I wonder what you
Yes.
see that lady over there? Yeah, that's Bhavani, the commanding officer of the Solarian army. I wonder what she'd think about you and your friends burning down the bridge and
Yep.
exploding her caravan and Saul Silva.
She's
So
like, let's ask her.
yeah, and it was just like,
Everyone, just a collective.
right. And the moment of suspense there where it's like, what the hell is about to happen? Like,
Yes.
so
Ah.
and then we see
Yeah.
like that manipulative hand push again when she's like prompting Bloom
Mhm.
to speak, and like it's
Engage.
just
Yeah.
you can see her face like wipe, kind of like,
Hmm.
oh, faking a smile.
Yeah.
So
I also appreciate the Winx like being so in tune to each other that like they recognize like, oh, Bloom is out. Like she's out of
mhm.
commission for this mission. Like we we've got to improvise, kind of like what they did with Sol Silva. Only
Yeah.
this time it doesn't go as smooth. So yeah, and I don't know if that's because Stella is in the picture this time. Maybe. I don't
Hmm.
know. But ooh, it's messy. It gets
Yeah.
messy real quick.
It's like they had this plan and it's immediately thrown off. So they have to work
Yeah.
around it. And I love that though, because that's like also like sometimes things happen like that. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Oh, then we cut to the scene with Aisha and Flora who like run
Yes.
into Gray. Like some students appear and we see Gray talking to Amy Leroy before
Ah!
Sebastian pulls them aside. Oh, you got to come over here. But they share a little glance and just, I thought it was so cute how Gray passed Aisha his note
I
card,
know. It's
especially over the,
adorable.
right? The fact that she's gushing over it. Flora's just like, oh, marry him.
Oh,
So sweet.
gosh.
Um,
Yes.
but Amy Leroy, I am thoroughly convinced that Amy
Yes.
Leroy, and we talked about this, but
He-
Amy Leroy is the Fate version of Professor Defoire from like the original Winx Club. She was like the
Mhm.
professor with the long silk
Gray
white hair
hair.
and
Yeah.
what
A
was
red
it?
dress, some
Red
glasses.
dress, gold accent jewelry, and like
Mhm.
the blue and red dress. Yeah. And Amy Leroy is literally that
In the
like color
same.
palette, like in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah.
like her outfit. She's got a red dress, she's got a gold armband, she's got
Her
gold earrings
earrings.
with blue on
Yes.
them, and it's
Oh,
just oh
I
my
can see it.
gosh.
Yeah.
And to go further into that, Amy Leroy is the one who like had the breakthrough theory of elemental mechanics, and
Yes.
in the comic The Magic Tournament, going back to that same comic,
This is the same comic?
yes, it's the same
Oh
comic.
my god.
The girls, when they're preparing for the tournament to win the tournament, they're learning how to do effective spell casting in DeFlar's class. And she is teaching them how to go from a basic spell to like really use their like words to cast a spell that's like powerful. And she is
Yeah.
casting a rain cloud spell like in the classroom. So
This is incredible, Dane. Oh my
right, I'm just like,
gosh.
oh my gosh, when I saw that, and I just found this the other day too, so I was just like,
You're like,
oh
wait,
my
wait, wait, wait.
gosh, right, like
Oh.
incredible though. I think it's such a good way to adapt that into this,
Hmm.
series, and
Yeah.
it's nice that
And
we
to
actually
make
get to
it,
see.
yeah, another professor.
Mhm.
You
The
know?
professor that vanished in the original, but now it's
I
the
know.
opposite.
I know.
So
Jeez. Yeah. Ugh, I wish that we saw more of her in the original because such potential like with that character. I'm glad that she has a more prominent role in the comics. That makes me
yeah.
want to read the comics even more.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But yeah, but meanwhile at the banquet, Stella is chatting with her uncle Arthur, who is played by James Lance, who you might know him as Trent Krim from the Apple series Ted Lasso. Anyone? Incredible. Also, Aisha Precious Mustafa is in Ted Lasso as well, which is so funny. We get a little like Ted Lasso crossover here.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you didn't know that, so yeah, so Trent Krim from Ted Lasso is
Mhm.
Uncle Arthur, Estelle's uncle, and he's agreeing that yeah, everybody at home says that like the tracking gem that your mother agreed that Rosalind could put on you is a bit much, and Stella's, yeah, she thinks like I'm some kind of delinquent and whatever. And I know who you really are. And like, is trying to reassure her, but he's also We see him very early in the banquet, in the mixer. We're not even to the banquet yet. This is the mixer. This is the pre-banquet.
And he's mixing, let me tell you.
He is, he is mixing it up. He is. He is.
Drinks.
Oh, man. Yeah, he is going through them. Yeah, for sure. And we see that, and it's very apparent he has got maybe an alcohol problem. Yeah, but when Stella suggests a scenario where Rosalind is like maybe not in power or whatever, he states that he wouldn't be foolish enough to air out publicly like what he's planning on, like politically, like saying, like it's
whatever his thoughts are.
Yeah, whatever his thoughts are on that. It's clear that he's trying to put her in her place as like a young royal. Like, I am not going to be like discussing that matter publicly right now. But obviously then he reaches for another drink, which insinuates that, yeah, when he's sober, he's probably fine. Like, when he's drunk, he's that drunk uncle. He's like that damn drunk uncle that comes to holidays and it's like, you need to stop talking, sir. But also, we'll get to that.
The way he talked about he was like, oh, where's that sweet mate of yours? And she's, which one? And he's, Stella, there's only one. The fairy who transformed. And that is just, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny because to me, I appreciate that fate went the extra mile to have everyone believe that Bloom was a big deal because she transformed. You don't get that. It's not handled that way very well in the original series. And I think that it's more believable here. I'm not sure about how it is in the comics, but the only way we really see that type of like sentiment towards any of the Winx members is Farragonda's favoritism, first of all. And with Winx over and over, but we do get to see a little bit of like their like celebrity status in season 4 for a brief time there at the very beginning. But like besides that, like Bloom in Fate is the celebrity. Fairies haven't transformed for centuries. Like, this is a big deal. Yeah. And I love the emphasis that they put on that.
For real. I totally agree. I feel like it's a little bit more concise in comparison. Yes. Like, it's a little bit more, oh, this is how it would really be if this were like, because it is kind of like a realistic version of this. It really plays into that realism. So I do appreciate that too. I think Bloom's powers are seen more as kind of like a liability in ways too in this version of the show. But even in the animated series and in the comics, like there's like with the way, for example, in the comics, the way Farah handles the situation with Valtor, she actually gets reprimanded for it at one point, I'm pretty sure. So
and also like the parent meeting that they had in season 3 of we don't feel safe with our children being here at Alfea with Bloom.
Yeah.
If Valtor is after her, and she's trying to appease these parents, and Bloom, actually, no, I'll just peace out.
Yes.
And so like but it takes until season 3 to really get there. Like, it's crazy. Whereas like here we are in season 2 and it's well established that no, Bloom is it's going to be a problem if not dealt with. Like, at the same time, everybody's clamoring to meet her because this is an anomaly, basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So like the way the students stay, it's a total shift of
For sure.
So with Bloom unable to go to the East Wing as she's stuck by Rosalind's side, she instead is like telling the crowd of figures on the Sky Bridge that she knew how to defeat the Burn Ones because earlier in the evening, Rosalind helped her nuke her magic at the Stone Circle. And at this moment, Rosalind's like speaking highly of the mayor of Blackbridge, who's like right in front of them, recounting a similar experience back when like he was in school. Oh yeah, this is kind of like how like me and you like used to train under me, like insinuating to Bloom that like, oh, maybe under Rosalind she could become like as universally loved as the mayor of Blackbridge. So she's like trying to get in Bloom's mind at this point too. And
here's like, all these high important people that love me.
Yeah. So, and that will blow up later in the episode with Stella too, because Stella kind of like picks up on this at one point as well. So but like,
man.
With Flora and Aisha unable to reach Bloom, Sebastian tells them that they need to go to like the East Wing, stressing that they have to do it quickly because if Rosalind gets access to Bloom's power, she could vaporize the entire room and control their minds. And so he doesn't care who does it at this point. But we all know that he really wanted Bloom to go into the East Wing, which,
Dude, yes.
yes,
That
like,
just right now for me clicked. That
yeah.
just right now for me on this podcast clicked. Why? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, it's so sneaky. He's so sneaky. Oh my gosh.
And we don't know yet. We won't know for another whole episode.
Yeah. I think an episode or two, but yeah, pretty much. So
I am flabbergasted.
right. So we're like, oh,
Wow.
is he telling the truth here? Is he fear mongering? Is it a little bit of both? Yeah, he's doing both of that in that moment. He's just trying to get somebody down there. And
That
so,
is
like,
creepy.
right?
He's preying on these little girls.
I know,
Absolutely
he's trying to
not.
take their magic. Like, it's just
disgusting.
awful. Right. So then we come back to Bloom on the Sky Bridge and the crowd disperses, and Bloom was just hyping Rosalind up, right? Everything was just like she's just speaking so highly of Rosalind. And then all of a sudden, Rosalind threatens to fry her phone when she goes to check her phone because they're trying to see if she's paying attention.
Yeah.
And they being like Flora's looking up at Bloom. And it just really goes to show that Rosalind like goes very hot and cold with Bloom all the time. Quite literally, yeah. If you think about it, hot and cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, so then we see this shot of Tara and Musa have a exchange in the hall where Musa's, listen, we've got to go after Sam. Like he's about to do something. I don't know what. And Musa said we have to do something before he does something that he can't take back. Like she knows he's out for blood. Like she knows. And so as we cut away, we see Sam pocketing the syringe of the Elden amalgam in the pantry of the Althea kitchen. And he's like, about to make this drink. And Musa and Tara are like trying to go find Tara's brother and before he does something dumb.
I think it was also Tara who, when she's going off on Musa, like kind of like breaking it down, she's like, now we have to go find him before he does something that he like can't take back.
Yes.
But,
yes.
yeah, like I love Tara's intellectual breakdown of what Musa was doing. Like she just goes straight into it. Like, have you learned nothing? I told you it was a bad idea when you did it with Aisha and you kept doing it and now you've been doing it to my brother. Ugh.
Come on now. Yeah.
I love that. And also she's being mindful of like people in the hallway too as she's saying it. Like she pauses for a minute. So I just love that. I love that Tara really is our blended Tecna and Flora variant from season 1. She just, there are so many things about her and just the way she goes about this, that it's just
Tara, but then also Aisha too, because Aisha does say that little line to Flora at the mixer of "I'm not a robot." So that was a little Tecna and Aisha too. So I think that Tecna got distributed to like all of the Winx a little bit. And
they definitely moved her like through there. It makes sense too. Tara is kind of like a combo of the name Tecna and Flora. So that's been turning for me lately. But
I thought that literally when they announced Tara as a character, I was like, hello?
Ooh, new girl.
That sounds like a ship name for Tecna and Flora. Hello? What? Oh, that's so funny.
Sam losing it in the pantry, by the way, he has lost it because he's brought poison into the pantry. Nobody in their right mind who works in a greenhouse would bring a chemical like that, or in this case, an amalgam, into a place where people eat. He's completely lost it.
He is gonzo, like done. Yeah, I can't wait to get to that scene. But yes, yeah. Oh man.
But I love that they show him like pulling it out in the pantry because like they clearly put him in there for a reason. They like, it really adds to it, like he's doing something he would never do in his right mind. So
oof, powerful.
it's a good one.
Yeah.
But then we cut to outside.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Beatrix is going off on Andreas about being relegated to the commoners, as she says. And when Andreas tells her not to make a scene, she says, right, wouldn't want to ruin Rosalind's mysterious plans for the evening. To which Andreas just smirks and walks off. Take note for later, and I didn't catch it until this rewatch. We find out who was responsible for relegating her to the commoners, as she says. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, no. On top of the fact that Andreas told her in episode 1, don't speak about Rosalind like that in front of other people. And there were plenty of other people around them.
Oh yeah.
And she did it anyways. And he just was just like, I'm done. I'm gonna walk away now. So yeah.
But then when she storms away and sees like Dane with like his other friends that are not not her and Riven,
Kat and
like,
Luke and whoever else is over there. Yeah.
Kat, was it Kat?
Yeah, it was Kat. Luke, who we don't know is Luke till later, and then somebody else. I wonder if that was. I don't know who the other specialist is.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, and she's we're leaving, and he's no, I'm talking to my friends, and like she, a switch flips in this girl.
Right.
Like she is like this like menacing. She's season 1 Beatrix all of a sudden. Like it's
she
crazy.
Just goes in. Oh, what are you talking about? Your macros, your best deadlift, how to accidentally avoid picking up a book.
My gosh. This was a Trix level burn. The
other world's blandest water biscuit to a Sky is just like chef's kiss. Like sorry
good.
Sky, but like
sorry to this man.
Oh my gosh.
So funny.
But I love that, like
what's a water biscuit?
I think it's like a dipping cookie.
Oh,
water biscuit.
Water
is it?
biscuit. Yeah. It's kind of like a water biscuit. Yeah. No, it's like those really thin crackers that like you take at like communion. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
Oh my gosh. That is just whoever wrote that. I just hope you know.
Like a saltine.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
That's really funny. Damn, that's so good.
Wow. But I love that Dane was like, Dane had matured enough to realize that Beatrix was really no good for him at this point. Like he used to give her the benefit of the doubt, thinking that the bravado was just like is kind of like hiding the fact that she's really sad and scared on the inside, but really she just enters a room and she's nasty towards people.
Clocks absolutely loud. Yeah.
He's like, what did he say? It was something like, and the sad thing is you think people are scared of you. No, they just don't like you.
So right in the gut. Like,
and it's
that
true.
Is so sad.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, but
and that's what makes it worse.
Yeah, because then it just gets worse for her too. Because she's already experienced what it's like being shut out by people. So.
I think that Beatrix has it the worst out of everybody. Like out of this whole, and nobody effing gets that. What? She's this season's punching bag. Hello? Poor Beatrix. Justice for Beatrix. Ugh.
And it's so subconscious for her too, because she doesn't even realize she's doing this, I think, when she's doing it. Because it's all she's known with how she's so guarded. And like I said, her upbringing, it goes deep. So, and she won't realize it till it's too late.
Yes. Jeez.
Also, I do like how when she claps back at Dane, she's, oh, you can be mean to me, but just so you know, being mean to me and treating me like this, he's never gonna love you, by the way.
Oh my gosh. Just gives it right back to him. Yeah.
Kind of like, and it does sting him because he definitely still wants Riven's validation. Like we see it later, but just
so dumb.
Good. So I like the development for Dane here though, and for Beatrix too, just kind of seeing like where she's at now in her flop era. So
yeah, geez, her flop era. Oh, yeah.
But then we cut to the scene where we see Aisha and Flora share a glance with Bloom, or we cut to the scene where Aisha and Flora share a glance with Bloom, affirming that she can't go to the East Wing. So they quickly turn the corner and we get this grand entrance. Oh my gosh, of Bloom and Rosalind entering the banquet. Shout out to the people at Free Folk Video Effects who did this scene, because it is outstanding. Like from Bloom entering to the camera and like the butterflies, all like the CGI that they added to the dome, which is entirely CGI, by the way. The dome that we see on Althea
Yeah.
it's not even there. Like it's actually an adaptation of the original Tirnanog castle having this dome, which is
Yes.
also brought into the Winx Club's version of
Ah!
Althea, but they bring it into Fate too in the source lore, and I love that so much. But yeah, I love this scene. We see one butterfly, then we see hundreds of them, and
It's reminiscent of the introduction or the intro of the Four Kids dub, right? With all the magical butterflies and the pixies.
yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Yes.
Like
Oh
when
my
when the
gosh.
pixie comes down and flies into Althea or something.
Which like isn't that from the Nightmare Monster episode
I think so, yeah.
in the season 1, which like kind of crazy. Kind of
Right? Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
Based on what happens in a little bit. Yeah.
But Sky enters the room and he is just in awe over
As he should
Bloom.
be. Yes.
To which Rosalind says, "Oh, I thought you might like some company." So we learn that it was Rosalind. God forbid Rosalind does this to Beatrix, right? Oh my gosh.
We
Like
already know
it's
that
just
she's not your fave. We get it.
yeah,
But like
like this is cold. So Rosalind basically did that to Beatrix and was
orchestrated
like,
it.
yeah, Sky's gonna sit with his like bio dad now.
She did it for Bloom though.
Yep.
She did it for Bloom,
But she
and
really
that
did
is
it
what
for herself.
stings. Oh yes,
So,
exactly.
yes, like
Yes.
she
Oh,
did it for herself to do it for Bloom to make Bloom. Yeah, she's playing chess.
playing 4D chess.
Yeah.
Yes.
But multiple games at once too. Like
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
got a lot going on. But what was I saying?
You said what a gentleman the way he pulls out her chair.
Oh, yeah.
That's
The
very
bare minimum,
funny,
really.
Jane.
But
I know. That's what I was just. He was like, yeah, he should.
yeah,
Damn right.
right.
But it is very sweet. It is a very sweet.
No, but
she
it is
can
the
pull
bare
out her own
minimum.
chair.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, that's very funny.
But,
Winx
take
Sky
note
could
that,
never.
Yeah, all of that's a part of Rosalind's plan. So she like does this and then like she excuses herself to go talk to the Solarian guard, and then Bloom and Sky chat about like the current modified secret plan before sharing like a little romantic exchange. Sky was like, "Oh, I thought you were off doing secret agent shit."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Bloom has done secret agent shit before if we think about it. Like
yeah.
the little World of Winx moment, Netflix, right? Just so goofy.
Stop. That's very funny. Oh my god. Oh,
But this guy pulls her chair out like such a gentleman, the bare minimum again. And he's just like, you just look. And then I just can't believe you're my girlfriend. I love that. I love that he didn't reduce her down to her looks though, and was just like saying,
I can't
like,
believe
I'm
you
just,
as a person.
yeah. And
That's
I'm
fair
so lucky,
because
like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's fair because to me, I took it as like, why are you making this about you? But that is a good point. I'm glad that you said that before. I was like, well, Sky. I'm just like so ready to like shit on Sky at any moment. Because I don't like Sky. But that's such a good point that he didn't make it solely. I'm just a terrible Sky hater.
Good.
Hand up.
Because like we're conditioned to not like Sky. We really are.
Yes!
Like we have experiences with other Sky where we're just like, oh my gosh. But Fate Sky, he's really not a bad guy. He's just boring.
He's just the otherworld's blandest water biscuit. That's so funny. Oh my god, I'm crying.
But yeah, I love this moment because it plays into what Brian Young's like whole thing about like Taylor Swift's wildest dreams and say you'll remember me standing in a nice dress staring at the sunset, baby. And it's like those lyrics from that song track throughout this entire season. And here they are here.
Say you'll remember me because of what happens at the end of the season.
Yes, you'll see me in hindsight.
I have chills.
All night, burning it down. It's all there. And so
whole thing is just wildest dreams coded. Like the whole season. The whole season is just
we need
wildest dreams music video part 2.
Yeah. Honestly, they could totally release a music video for that song
Oh.
with these clips and just make something magical. Maybe a fan needs to do it, but
Dane, I think
yeah,
you need to do
I
it.
guess I do.
Like maybe a fan does. I don't know. Taking mental notes.
I'm gonna add that to my itinerary or like, oh gosh. But
I'm dying.
yeah, the genius of Brian Young here. I see why he wanted the song. Like it
Yeah.
fits. It really does.
Yeah,
And
okay. I'll sacrifice our 8th episode for that song, I guess. That's fine.
yes, yeah.
Whatever.
But
That's
then
so funny.
right. Arthur enters with a surprise Stella, who's just, Bloom, what are you doing here? And
What
Bloom
are
wants to
you
know that
here?
Rosalind invited her. Yeah. To which drunk Arthur's, oh, thank God, someone with something to say before grabbing another drink. Like
Buddy.
the looks everybody exchanged at the table, I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
It's oh.
It's so awkward. I feel like we've all been in a situation like this where it's clearly there is somebody that is out of pocket and you're like you are like you know it and you all recognize it silently and you're like
Yeah.
all right, we've got each other's back if we need to intervene if this becomes a problem, right? Okay, cool. That will happen. Yes.
The eyes talk in this show, they really do.
Yes. Oh my
But
gosh.
do you want to read this next section?
Yeah. So we see Tara and Musa searching Sam's room, frantically looking for like any clues of like where he is. He's obviously not there. And this is when Musa reiterates that like she thinks that she got through to him as they bolt down the hallway, and like Tara like really hopes that Musa's right. And that's when they see it? Or do we see it as the audience?
We see it. Yeah, we see it.
Okay, that's what I thought. Oh, I see.
But then it like cuts the scene, yeah.
Yeah, but then we cut to the scene of this frantic like Musa and Tara to what Sam is doing with the syringe. He tells the waiter that he's preparing a special cocktail. Sir, you're not fooling anybody. You look suspicious as hell. Like absolutely not sly at all. But like he gets clocked by Marco, who is it? Marcus? Marco?
I think it's Marco, or is it Marcus? I don't remember.
I can't remember either. I think you're right. I think it's Marco because she goes hot Marco, right? That's what she says in season 1, right? She's like
Stella,
hot
yeah.
Marco, yeah.
Hot
Marco, yeah. That's the same guy, right? That like
it's the same guy.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But then so Marco clocks him, right, and is like, you need to come with me like right now. And Sam knows he's in the wrong. He knows, even in like his like altered state, he knows he is in the wrong, and just like willingly goes with
it. Yes, he just walks right on off.
He's just yeah, I know. Trots off. It's just so sad. But I wonder too, because if the Solarian guard had caught him, that would have been a much different fate for Sam. Sam would have been locked away, you know.
It was almost fate that Marco caught him because
exactly. No, it absolutely was, and I think Marco knows that because he didn't take him to the Solarian guard; he took him to his dad, and that says a lot about Marco as a character because we don't get to see Marco a lot, especially in this season. Like we don't, we don't get to see him a ton. We know that he got hired by Rosalind to be like a defense against dark arts teacher, I guess. I don't know, and like. He is on faculty, but like him seeing one of his students about to make a terrible mistake for his life, that is such a good teacher, Marco.
Right, good for him.
Too soon.
And it makes me think about in season 1 too when they helped him when he got attacked by the burn one. So it's like he
returning that favor.
Yeah. Oh,
so wow, glad. You're so right. Wow.
I do wonder how he figured it out, though. I wonder if he was just in the right place at the right time, or if
probably because he's like a very intelligent Alfiel. Like when he was on the case for season 1, like when they were like, "Oh, hot Marco's on the case," you know what I mean? Like, it was a very like well-known thing of, oh, Marco's involved, like it's gonna be fine. I don't know. It's just I wish that Well, one, I wish there was a third season. Two, I wish Marco didn't. We'll see what happens to him in the next episode, but
Yeah.
so sad. So sad.
And then
Oh, the next
mm,
scene. Oh
uh,
wow.
right before that too, we briefly see Aisha and Flora entering the outside staircase to go to the East
Yes.
Wing, and there is a creature buzzing in the, well, I don't want to say buzzing, like
Disgusting. Ew. Like clicking.
what
Like
kind?
making
Yeah,
the
clicking
scraper
noises.
noises.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scraper noises. Like
Yeah, scraper
it's
noises.
yeah, it's just like going off in the forest, and you see it
Yeah.
like kind of follow them, but yeah.
It's so funny. The scraper noises do give very much like Bradley D. Baker like noises. Like it's very much, oh, it's creepy. It's weird. Ugh, I hate it.
Not a fan. Yeah.
Not a fan.
I just don't like them. Like they look terrifying in this. Like,
Yeah. They
oh.
did such a good job. Like so incredible, like the design of these disgusting creatures. Like it's very on par with what I would imagine a real life scraper from Winx Club. If you just took a scraper from Winx Club, plopped it into reality, that's what it would look like. And it's
Right.
so gross. And I hate it. I hate everything about
Anatomically
it.
disgusting.
Congratulations, it's disgusting.
So we come back to the table where Rosalind points out Sebastian as a disappointment of an alumni. I thought that was such an interesting little, like, why is she just like singling out Sebastian out of all the people? Well, I guess she didn't meet him and like Bloom met everybody else. And so maybe that's why she did it. But
yeah, because Bloom looked over at him, right? Bloom looked over at him and she goes, "Do you know Sebastian?" She's, "I just know that he's got a shop in town."
Yeah, like
Bloom's a terrible liar.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But a drunk Arthur then starts like hurling insults and, as Stella says, thinly veiled jabs.
Yes.
Just like at everybody. She's like trying to sober him up, but he's refusing. He's, oh no, a little bit more of the other instead of the water. Like, oh my gosh, this guy he is something else. Sebastian then signals to Bloom that Rosalind has walked off and that she should go over there. Like the eyes again are talking. And so she gets up and leaves, and then all hell breaks loose at the table. Like Sky snaps and like doubles down towards Arthur, and Arthur reduces Sky's existence to nothing. He's like, I've got cleaning stuff more important than you. Like, the eyebrow raise. Oh my gosh.
And it's sad too, because I think in Arthur's drunken state, he thought that he was like defending his niece of, "I'm so glad my niece isn't with you anymore," sort of thing.
Scandal, yeah.
Like, yeah, I know. It's so funny, but it just is still so shitty. It's just so rude.
Yeah. And Stella's just like Stella just goes off and she's like, no, stop, you can't insult my friends like that. Like, this is insane. Like, you're drunk.
Drink
like,
some
I'm being
water.
that girl.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
oh man.
So, but that's just so. And again, Sky being respectful towards Bloom, like when Arthur's landing the fairy that transformed, he's like, I didn't land anything.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
Like, oh, love that. Bare minimum again. I feel like in general, people should
defend their significant others. Yeah. No, for real. Yeah.
But when Arthur gets up from the table and he walks away, he tells Stella, "You really wanted that gem out too." And like on her face, like the panic, she's, "Oh, I can't believe he said that out loud." And Sky took notice,
in
like,
front of everybody.
Yeah. And he's just like, "What are you talking about?" He took note mentally that, oh, Stella had something with the gem. There's something going on. So
it makes me wonder if that's something that, because Sky knows Stella really well because they were together for a long time. I wonder if that's something that like Luna ever, because obviously when Stella saw the gem, she didn't know what it was. But I wonder if she was ever threatened by Luna to do this to her. I feel like Luna would be as cruel as to threaten her child that way.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that is, it clicked for Sky. Oh, I know exactly what is going on. And it's sad.
Really, it's so sad. So
yeah. But before that too, when Sky snaps and he says, "No, you're being a royal dick," or whatever, and it cracks up Andreas so much that like spits his drink. Yeah, like he does a spit take almost. It's very funny because I don't think that he was expecting that from his like straight-laced bio son
that he's never really seen.
He's never seen the side of Sky.
So I guess Silva was kind of right. He was kind of starting to sound like his dad. Like, it's Because that's something
Not for
Andreas would have done.
long.
So,
Ah!
oh,
Ah!
well, yeah.
Oh god! Oh god!
but but yeah,
Scary.
I like that format though. Like when, or I love that Fate like does that though. Like they really rely on a lot of the facial like
Mm-hmm.
micro expressions that the characters make to like pick up on things. I think it's really good because they don't really do that so much in the animated series because like
Yeah.
animation's
It's the
expensive.
animation.
Like
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, but yeah.
Oh gosh, I scrolled to see how many pages we had left and I lost all of my spots.
Oh, I think we're almost done too.
Yeah, it's really close.
We then see
Um,
Arthur passing by, or we see Arthur passing by, greeting Rosalind and Bloom, just like kind of like signaling
mhm.
like he's going to step out for a minute or something, followed by a deep conversation between Bloom and Rosalind where they try to reach a level of middle ground. Stella observes this conversation from afar, looking puzzled,
Mhm.
especially when Rosalind places a hand on Bloom's shoulder before excusing herself to some cryptic business. Like
Yeah.
something that this whole exchange is so back and forth. I couldn't even explain it all because it's
Yeah.
so back and forth.
Yeah, yeah. Fast paced.
But she's, Bloom is not afraid to confront people. That's something I think we can all agree. She's very fiery and she's like,
Very four kids bloom coded.
yeah, like
I love it.
she's confident and I love that. I love that so much about this character. And she's asking all the right questions, like why is Rosalind so cryptic? Like
Mm-hmm.
why be nice one moment and then treat me like an enemy? And then Rosalind just
Mm-hmm.
plays off her intentions so well. She's just, oh, it's just a protective persona. But then she follows that up with a cryptic, nobody really loves the powerful ones. You'll learn that soon enough. Like she is just going everywhere. Then she apologizes for bullshitting. She's, I'd never turn you and your friends in. I would have, I'd lose your trust. And I'm in a room full of people that want to see me fail. And you're my star pupil. You've shaped the other world more than every alum in this room. Like everyone in this room, really. Like she
She's
is just,
gassing her up.
it's
Wow.
she's kind of like eating it up too because of what happens next. But
Mm-hmm.
Stella is
Mm-hmm.
from afar taking notes. Oh,
Ah.
what is going on here? So
Oh.
um then we
So
cut
what?
to, or you want
Oh,
to read this next section?
yeah, I can. I can. So while they are in the East Wing, Aisha is admitting to Flora that she definitely does have feelings for Gray, but she's worried, especially as she's never been with a guy before. And what if she loses control? What if she like whatever? And that's when we get the infamous line that we saw in the trailer of Flora saying, "But like losing control is the best part." And it's that's what I thought you were gonna be evil, Flora, but
Yeah,
you're not. You're so perfect.
it's really, I love that little fake out they like did there with that. That is so,
Yes.
oh my
Oh,
gosh.
it was
But
perfect. It was so
I love
good.
how she gets her to open up to Flora. Really tells her like, no, I'm not buying that excuse that your life's like a pie chart. What's this really
Yeah.
about? And she knows it's deeper than that. And Flora really makes Aisha get to the root of what's going
Mm-hmm.
on. So
Mm-hmm.
proper,
I love it.
yeah, like flower girl science, but like in a romantic sense. So
Yes,
it's just, oh,
absolutely.
so
Ugh.
cute. And I heard some people say, oh, this is not the place to do that. Like they should be on the mission. But sometimes like you have to have these conversations in the most unexpected spots.
Yes,
So
and how many times does the actual Winx Club seasons do that? A lot of the time. You
way
say
too
Riven are
much.
out here making out before they go in, whatever. It's like there are these like tough conversations
Yeah,
being had in Winx Club and in opportune moments, like
they're still
for
humans.
sure.
Like they still have,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Ugh, so funny.
totally get
But while they're talking, though, they unknowingly stumble into the abandoned lab. And they also stumble straight into the path of some of these scrapers. Oh,
yes.
disgusting. And
So
so they're looking for like a way to this is like one of the like instances that Fate like kind of like dips into like the horror like genre because like it is very much like suspense filled and like you don't know what's coming around the corner. And so they're like looking for like a way to turn on the light and like she turns on the light and we're like, we for real think that that's when it's gonna come out. And it doesn't. And you're like, okay, cool. And then and then you
it's on
turn
the
the
wall.
corner and it's on the freaking wall. You're like, damn it, it got me.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And oh, like I remember seeing the promo pictures that came out for the like second season, and then there was a shot from this, and it was just like Aisha and Flora in there like looking up like terrified or something. And I was just like, oh, this looks like it's gonna be good. Like, I
Yeah.
love the horror aspect of Fate. I think it's one of my
Yeah.
favorite levels to this series. I think it's mainly just because I feel like Nickelodeon went way too far with kind of ruining the high stakes like
Mm-hmm.
seriousness that like Rainbow kind of originally had. Granted, there
Eh.
was like a nice balance to it back then, but I don't know. It's just kind of like it feels like a slap in the face towards Nickelodeon being like, no, we're gonna do something cool. Like I love it. I love that so much. I
Mm-hmm.
know there are people that don't, but like that's just how I feel about it. So
Yeah, no,
it's
I
yeah.
tend to agree with that. It is like taking it just and being like, actually, no, this is what Winx is. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
And
Like,
we can do even more. We're gonna push it a little
yes,
bit. So and I love that.
yes,
Like
totally.
it's just yeah. But that whole scene, I love how when they enter the lab, Flora is like, you smell that, and it's she deduces that there's alcohol
Yeah.
in the lab and it's been sterilized, meaning oh they cleaned up like she cleaned up her business. She's covering her
Mm-hmm.
tracks. Like
Mm-hmm.
really, really solid, especially because she did that. And this goes back into Flora's character knowledge of being like the horticultural researcher and working around
Mm-hmm.
like scientific like laboratories. That is why she was able to save Aisha, because she took that alcohol vial and used it to kill the scrapers. So
Yes, that's crazy. That's so wild. And yeah, like it's excuse me, it's apparent that Sebastian sent the wrong two fairies down there and like
mhm.
because he was just like well, I don't want to spoil anything yet for anyone who hasn't seen it, so I'll save it for later, I
We've
guess.
got a
But
few
like y'all need to
spoilers in
watch
here,
this.
but
I
yeah.
know, I know. There's so many we've already said, but it's just funny because it felt like he just like needed someone to go down
Mhm.
there at that point. Once he
Kind of
knew that he
like
wasn't gonna get Bloom, like he needed
yeah.
just like anyone. But
And
then he
that
didn't
comes
get
up
anyone.
yeah, it comes up later too, like obviously in that episode, but off the record. Remember when Avalon was like catching all the powers or something from
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
it's essentially kind of like that, like what we know with Avalon's like Avalon and Lord Darkar, like fake Avalon. But yeah, it's
Fake Avalon.
mhm.
Yeah, dude, that's very fake Avalon coded. That's wild.
So
So the girls minus Tara and Musa because they're off doing taking care of other business elsewhere. They're in the main chambers. They're having an exchange with Bloom where Bloom's like kind of second guessing everything that like they thought they knew about Rosalind. Maybe she's not that bad after all. Da, da, da. And they're like, "Are you girl? Are you crazy? What did you drink? Are you drunk? Are you okay? Blink twice if you need help." And she's no, like I've decided to believe Rosalind. And Stella's, "You're weak. This is not what we're doing. This is not what we came here for." Like, she pointed out that she's blinded by her 15 minutes of fame, which is
mm,
that is so, I mean, it could be true because like Rosalind did a really good job of gassing up Bloom. Like, it could be true. And so
yeah.
instead, like, of like just going along with it, like Stella takes the initiative and like decides to expose Rosalind as a fraud in front of literally everybody. And
Oh, it's just it's
we'll,
such a
yeah.
good setup. The back and forth shot between like Bloom and Stella too, where they're like it's like swirling around them.
Yeah, yeah,
On top of the fact that I see why Stella thinks that Bloom is just trying to have her 15 minutes based on what she observed. Even though
yeah.
it's like when you see it from our perspective, we know
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
what really happened, but we can see why Stella thought that, and we can also see why Bloom's confused too. So that's what I
exactly.
love about this show. It's you see the different angles of why people think the way they think, and it's just
Hmm.
it's good.
It's really good.
It's solid. And so
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there's a few cracks in there, but that's a pretty
And
solid
we
movie.
point those out as, and we
Yeah.
do. Like, we're not blind to them for sure, but
Not at
like,
all,
I
but
think that it's special that we can look past the flaws in something and to enjoy the
mhm.
beauty of it as well. Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
feels like life,
There's
you
beauty in
know?
so much. Yeah, just in
Yeah.
general. I feel like it's so important to like look for that too. So you're not like so
Hmm.
blinded by, oh, this needs to be different. Oh, that needs to be
Yeah.
different. No,
Yeah.
let's go with the flow. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, which this is a side note. There was something that was said in our Discord earlier that I thought was so funny by Ava.
Oh,
Or
really?
yeah, it was to you too because it was about the comic What did she say? I caught it. It was subtle, but I thought it was so funny. As for Misa and Tara, they are running through the greenhouse with Misa pleading to Tara for her to not be mad. And Tara is saying that she can't help how she feels. Like she's feeling her feelings. Like unlike Misa, who like wants to suppress everyone's feelings. And like they walk outside the greenhouse and they spot Sam with Harvey and Marco, who Harvey prompts Musa to go and talk to Sam. You guys need to talk. And she heads off to talk to Sam about what's been happening between them. And they're sitting in the garden at Alfea, like the little shrub maze, the hedge maze. And man, it's this moment. It's just so sad because you can see it on both of their faces. Yeah, when you think about it. And Sam's just, I'm leaving Alfea, like him and his father. And this probably also amounted from Harvey letting Silva into the school as well. This is Harvey's decision to help protect his family. And it's not just what happened with Sam, but like that definitely escalated the problem. But yeah, like this was coming anyway. I feel like this just escalated it. So it's sad.
Yeah.
I have a lot of opinions and feelings about this. I do. Like
a Jared moment.
Like
but worse because we love Sam.
But worse because we love Sam, and Jared was a weird, creepy stalker boy.
Yeah,
but
get rid of Jared.
But Sam, finally, we have the character of Musa in this iteration. And if this is like in a Winx like multiverse, like this is the timeline that Musa finally has like a healthy relationship. But like maybe it means that like in every universe Musa is fated to be with Riven and to be unhappy. Is that just Musa's fate? I don't know.
Yeah, I have no clue. And you know, it's different because it's so different in the comics. Like their dynamic is, I don't even think they're in the 30s of the comics. They're not even technically together. Like Musa's, they're still just friends, right?
And they're like seeing other people and stuff. And yeah,
and she has other like love interests like Mitchell or Mike. Oh my gosh, Mike is so Sam coded. I will say I'm so sad we didn't get more of him. He's like an adventurer. He's from a sect of specialists that are like, they go across the magic dimension and explore. Oh my gosh, it would have been great. But I
love that.
Yeah, like I feel that. I think there's obviously, it's called fate because the big overarching thing in the Winx Club has always been fate. Like from the the Infinity Show with Bloom and Sky in season 5 to like the Book of Fate and like things like that. Like they talk about how like you can change your fate, but like what you do in the present moment is kind of like where your story is, and that's why Bloom's story isn't like fully written, and so like she can still change it. But yeah, it's all about the current path, like where you're at in the moment. Like
that's
the
so true.
Past doesn't exist and the future hasn't happened. There's just the now. So I love that. I love it so much. But
I do too.
Yeah, this scene is so sad though. The way they're facing different directions on the bench at first, and then like he's like, I'm not a killer, and he releases the spider from his hand, and like
that was a very interesting shot too. Like the fact like they kept that in. I'm not gonna lie. That little spider shot was very cringe to me for some reason.
Oh, really?
It felt very forced. It felt, I'm not a killer. Releases a little spider from his hand.
I didn't even know he had a spider in his hand too.
I know, exactly. And that's what made it feel like forced. I was like, we didn't see him like, oh, cute little spider, go run along now. We didn't see any of that. It was just like, and then a spider crawls from his hand. It's this was such a sweet little heartfelt moment, and then like, spider. I'm like, no, jump scare. I hate that.
I thought it was like symbolic. I thought it was, he's releasing the spider that, you know, he's holding on to for a little bit. But I can see,
it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be
but
that.
I can see how the execution is kind of,
I was just like, okay, Brian, now we're trying way too hard. That was a little bit of a try hard moment.
Oh, teen angst.
my
But then they
gosh.
go and they face each other's direction. And then I think at one point, like Musa puts her hand on his back to try to comfort
Yeah.
him.
And
And he's, oh, he turns
oh,
back and he's, oh no.
I told you not to touch me.
Yes, yes. But I think it was just nice though to like fully get that kind of like almost closure, because it's not the last time we see them, but it's almost the last time. And I think it was like, yeah, it was just a good way to end it on that kind of note.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
meanwhile, Harvey
Yeah,
then
I've
tells
lost my spot.
Tara, oh, I'm done here.
Okay, cool, perfect. I see you.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, in this part.
yeah.
I'm going to circle back to when Flora arrived, because this is part of
Yeah.
that too. Meanwhile, Harvey then tells Tara he couldn't tear away. We see Harvey and Tara, or no. Meanwhile, we see Harvey and Tara standing off to the side. They're way far
Mm,
away at this point. And he tells Tara he couldn't tear her away from the school even if he wanted to. And when
yeah.
Tara asks if he'll return, if they take down Rosalind, what if we take down Rosalind? He does that thing he did in season one, like where,
Yeah.
Tara's not a
Oh,
kid,
my
dad.
sweet little girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, it's a nice thought, but she's harder than, or she's more tricky than people think. So it's just like treating her like she's a big, or she's just like a kid with big dreams. And
Yeah.
so,
So it makes me wonder if he knows what's about to happen,
mhm.
you
And
know?
it makes sense too, because, Flora arrived at the school saying she came for Tara. She didn't say she really came for everybody else. She also heard that other conversation about Harvey talking with
Oh,
Flora's
yeah.
parents. And so I think that Flora knew that they were on their way out. And that's why she
Yeah.
came to Althea for Tara.
Absolutely.
And I love that. I love
Wow.
that so much. And I love that because especially later when, and I'll say this between you and me, like when,
Mhm.
Tara, you're not going to tell anybody like what I told you, right? Like when she came out, she's, oh no, Tara, it's
Yeah.
for you to tell. Flora gives people the liberty to tell their own story and things when they're ready. And I love that so much. And this is a
Yes.
great example of that. So
That's so true,
yeah,
though.
it's just,
Yeah.
it's just sweet. And then also like when he says all this though, like Tara drops his hand and she's just trying to regulate herself. Like she's shaking, oh, I can't believe this is
Yeah.
happening. And it's so sad.
It's really sad.
So,
Oh, yeah.
but then
Um, yeah.
back inside, Rosalind shows up with Devlin. What?
New character Devlin.
Devlin, hi Devlin. uh, Back inside, Rosalind shows up with Devin, who is absolutely fine, and debunks Stella's story. Rosalind reveals that she's actually been trying to help these students, not harm them, and that her research has helped her learn about these ancient creatures she introduces as scrapers, which are native to the realm of darkness. So that puts it on the page that we saw
Ooh.
for that book earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That is the realm of darkness, it looks like. And it looks just like Darkar's Kingdom, the way it's drawn in the comics. When we see
Yes,
the one
yes.
shot of Darkar throwing
Yes.
Aisha off, it looks like that.
Yes.
It also looks like the Kingdom of Darkness from another Winx comic that, like, I almost missed out on. I'll just tell you, like, I almost didn't get this comic, but then I got it in
Wow.
the separate magazine lot because they don't include that one in the like graphic novels over in Singapore. I don't know
Oh,
why. Like they just skipped over it,
interesting.
but it looks like that too. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So
Wow.
they really like, yeah, yeah, just a
I love
good
that.
a good nod. But that's what happened to those students though. And she's like saying she's been trying to figure out what these scrapers are up to so she can stop them. And it would appear that the scrapers are being called on by the blood witches, like the old folks, the fairies, who
Mm-hmm.
have figured out now how to steal their magic. And Rosalind warns that if they continue, fairy magic and fairies will disappear like completely. So she goes on to applaud Stella and the others about being like so vigilant for their part in
Of
this, even
course.
though they sense danger, but they acted. So she's not like holding anything against them for what they've done, at least not in front of everybody. But
Right. She's a scheming little witch.
yeah,
Yes.
yes. But she like excuses the other students except for Bloom, who's asked to stay. And then, yeah, before we cut to the other scene though, I will
Mhm.
say that whole moment, we thought we were getting a Celeria reveal, right?
Yeah.
And it was completely the opposite. So just
It was yeah. I that yeah, that was not the final one because we get another one later, but that
mhm,
was that was another moment where the audience was really thought like they do a really good job of leading us on in the
mhm.
series and then like completely 180 because yeah, then we're like okay, well then now who is the real bad guy? And then
Yeah.
that's gonna set that up for the next episode really well, the
Mhm.
next half of this season. Ugh,
And
man.
then I think that's part of the whole thing with Fate, though, is that it's really, when it goes down to it, like there is no just like duality of good and bad here. There's a whole nuance. There are all these different teams at play. Like it really is like one of those shows where it's like there's so much going on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that scene was just so reminiscent of like when Stella went to go save her father in season
I
3. And
know.
I feel like Arthur even kind of looks like one of the background characters in that
Yeah,
moment.
the guy with the hair.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm just
yes.
like, he looks like he came from Solaria. So,
No, for real. He does. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
but yeah.
So after Rosalind dismisses the other girls, we see Flora and Aisha outside with Bloom and Sky very, very briefly before Bloom has to go back inside with Rosalind. But Flora is just kind of like reveling in the fact that she's not a murderer, which is so nice to her. And then of course, like Riven comes up and is trying to hit on her and offers her like a drink. And she's, well, I found out I'm not a murderer, so and he's, well, lucky for you, not a murderer is exactly what I'm into these days or something. Because everyone thought that Beatrix was a murderer last season.
Yeah, I mean, well, she
Like,
did. She did kill
oh
Catelyn.
yeah, oh dude,
So,
yeah, she did. Oh yeah, didn't even think
yeah.
she was a murderer.
But she was under orders to do it too. Well,
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah,
necessarily,
yeah,
but she
yeah.
did get a pardon for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Ah!
Uh,
Man, that's
Callum wasn't
crazy.
innocent either, though. He was sneaky. He was on Team Rosalind. So, or no, he
Mhm,
was on Team
mhm.
Andreas. But yeah.
Funny.
Oh,
That's so funny. But yeah, and it's just
Riven.
yeah, man. But yeah, doesn't Bloom go back in and have to sit with Rosalind?
Bloom is
Like,
like the center stage after there were a few more things that happen before we get the
oh
big Bloom
yeah,
part, but
yeah,
like we see the cute little exchange of, well, first of all, we see Stella walk off. She excuses herself. Poor
yeah.
girl, so embarrassed. And I love how Aisha checked on her. Stella, are you okay? Well, Aisha.
Aisha's
But
such a good character.
and then that cute little pan up to Gray where Flora's, I wonder what else you might be right or wrong about. Because Aisha's, oh, I thought we were right. I was so sure we were
Yeah.
right, but we were wrong. Which, like Bloom said, listen to Aisha. She's usually right. Aisha,
Hmm.
you were right the whole time, girl.
You were
Oh
like,
my
girl, don't
gosh.
even fret. Yeah, it's really sad.
So,
We've got Rosalind has Aisha second guessing herself. That's how powerful
yes.
Rosalind is.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
that's
So,
manipulation.
yeah.
Oh,
But we get this like really cute moment then with Aisha and Gray debriefing about the mixers. They're like walking through like the cute little forest near Althea. And there's some character growth for
oh
Aisha because
yeah,
she's, oh, I gotta go get my like swim on. He's, oh yeah, I gotta stick to that schedule, right? You can see it on his face, like he's like disappointed that she's about to walk
hmm,
away. And she goes, oh, meet you at the river in 10, or do you need 15 to do some sit-ups? And she's like
yeah.
rolling her eyes, and it's just the cutest thing. He is so gagged over it. Like when I saw it the other day, like rewatching it again, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so.
He is such a simp for Aisha. It's
Mhm.
adorable. I love it.
And I love that she listened. She listened to
Hmm.
Flora and she opened herself
Yeah.
up. And that's,
Just like Layla did or Aisha did in Winx Club to
mhm.
Flora.
It's
Ah,
just,
it's
it's
so
so
great.
sweet. I love that. I love it. I love it. And I love
Yeah.
the song that they put there too, because it's called What a Waste by an artist named Gracie.
Mm,
And believe it or not, the song is actually about a relationship going wrong, but we don't get that part of the song.
stop.
Instead, we get took the jacket I was leaving at yours, the jacket, the jumper that she
Yeah.
was sitting on. But
Oh,
like
wow.
the rest of the song, if you haven't heard the full song, highly recommend it because it's just, this is what happened. This is foreshadowing too. Oh, the cinematic art.
I love that.
Mm,
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. But back at the banquet, Rosalind declares that they'll find the blood witches that did this and they're going to eliminate them and like once and for all, because that's like what Rosalind set out to do in the first place. And that's what got her in stasis was like her like bloodthirst for these blood witches.
yeah,
Like
the
it was like
genocide, like,
yeah,
yeah.
hello. Not okay, Rosalind, girly. And then when Bhavani asks her like if she needs any resources, and then that's when she reveals that like the resources that she needs are like right here and presents Bloom as harnessing a powerful legendary magic burning inside her known as the dragon flame. And then everyone's been like, Bloom is finally clued into so many things click in place for her at this moment. Like
Yeah.
we've all like the audience is known, Rosalind is
Hmm.
known, Farrah knows she's dead, and so it's just finally Bloom has a lot of the answers that she's been looking for. Of like, why was I with the blood witches? Like, why was whatever? This is why. Really, you're old as F, but also
Hmm.
but she doesn't know that yet. Like she doesn't know that part yet. But like just the yeah, like the why she has powers even to begin with, it's this legendary thing. It's not normal. And so
I
yeah,
love that
it's
shot too. Yeah, like with Bloom, like where we hear what she's hearing when it all
the
comes down.
realization.
The realization sets in
Oh.
and there's like a blur. And it's so beautiful. But I want to add, with Rosalind's vengeance against the Blood Witches and what we know about Beatrix, and what she did with the genocide on Astrodel, I do wonder if that is why she pushes Beatrix to the side so much. Because, I mean, there are theories about who Beatrix really is. You and I both know who she's
Mm-hmm.
very likely. Maybe Rosalind knows that. And maybe that's part of why she has resentment for her, as
She's
well as the fact,
racist towards blood witches.
yes, or just,
Yes.
yeah, witches in general. I mean, that's a huge allegory here because, yeah, there's more that we learn later that goes even deeper, like when we realize the full scope of who the blood witches really are. But yes, and on top of that, Bloom has the fucking dragon flame. Why would she care about
Yes.
Beatrix? Like,
Yes. No, for real. That's such a good point. Oh my gosh.
yeah, like
Wow.
just, oh, because it
Yeah.
all makes sense. Beatrix is literally doing everything she can, being like the kiss up, and she's not taking any of it.
Yeah. Oh,
So
wow.
good job, Brian
That's,
Young. Like,
yeah, honestly, that's a good one. That's a really
unless
good
that's just
one.
me like stretching it, but I don't think
I
so.
don't
I
know.
think,
I think that that's a very sound like explanation of like why she would hate
mhm,
Beatrix because also and I even thought about this of like if Beatrix is actually a baby blood witch that they were doing tests on with the scrapers
mhm.
and why she has fairy magic, she might, you know what I mean, have been given fairy magic by scrapers by like blood witches. Anyway, but there's so many
Mhm.
things. There's so many things. Oh my gosh. Wow.
And I don't know if Beatrix is even, I think we find out that she's not actually from Astrodel too. Like
Do we?
at the end of season one, I don't remember if Rosalind said something like she's not really from there, or maybe that was just Bloom. Not sure, but
I
then you
just
find out. Okay, yeah, but like the two. Well, we can't say that. Like, yeah, we can cut that.
yeah.
But between you and me, I do think that maybe there's that level of treatment towards her because she's probably like a blood witch. But what if she's really just
Yeah.
like a descendant of the ancestral witches? Or
Oh, well, yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's very
so
true. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
But
so much. Oh.
then what do we get? Oh,
Ooh.
we get a montage of Aisha and Gray flirting and like splashing in the
Mm,
river, and Sam and Musa, as well as like Harvey and Tara saying goodbye. And
so sad.
like when we see Sam and Musa hug for the last time, the shot of her holding Sam, this time her
Mm,
eyes are closed. She's not channeling her magic. She's just
she's
feeling it. She's
feeling.
just saying goodbye. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh.
It's so sad.
I love that, but it's also really sad. But
Mm,
good directing at that point. Oh.
yeah. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Tara crying in the greenhouse with her dad. Oh my
That is
gosh,
fun.
just
Ate that
Elliot,
up. Oh my god.
The acting, she's such a good actor. I was so, I still get sad thinking about it because
Mhm.
it really touched my soul as a human being. Oh, this
Yeah.
poor character. I love Tara. So yeah, that was just really, really sad and gut wrenching. And then we also see Sky
This part. This part.
walk into Stella's dorm, seeing her in absolute tears, covered in blood, trying to rip the gem out of her back. And on
I
top of it,
Ooh,
yeah, oh, and she just goes over and she like leans in because like he like just comforts her and
hugs
just like,
her. Yeah.
oh. So it's like a different dynamic than season one where it's just like a friendly, oh, you poor thing. This
Yeah.
is appropriate for like me to like, this is a healthy way for me to comfort you versus like how we were
Yeah,
previously.
for sure.
Oh, she's
Because
so
Stella's a way different person than last season for
mhm.
sure, and we can see that. But this scene was such a good payoff for
Oh
like
yeah.
that growth, and it was just, oh my
And it's
gosh,
so sad. Like just
it
so
is.
sad.
The look on her face when he comes in and sees her like that. My God, Hannah ate that as well. I
For
just
real.
fudge. It's so good. It's so good.
The song in the
Ugh.
background too, I don't remember exactly what the lyrics were, but like it's very relevant to the scene and also foreshadowing some of what's to come later. So I'll have to go back and watch it again. But yeah,
Yes.
it's a solid one.
Man. Oh, but this end scene, I have so many issues with, like absolutely so many issues, but
Oh, I can't wait for us to talk about it.
oh my gosh. So in confidence, now that the banquet's over, they're still in the everything room, and Bloom is just kind of like sitting there like processing everything that just happened. And Rosalind is speaking to her about her past, and when Bloom questions whether or not she can trust her, like she presses she like passes her like this piece of paper, and Bloom opens it. She's like, "What is this?" And then out of nowhere, stage left. There is Silva who says, "It's a pardon." With the Scottish accent. It's a pardon. And oh my God.
Oh my gosh,
The girls went
Silva, what a
wild.
surprise.
Yeah. Like he's fine. He's not tortured. And
And he's in
like,
the new uniform, like
yes, he's in the new uniform. That's so
the
true. And
bike.
yes. And so this is followed by all of them deciding to draw a line in the sand, so to speak, and that they all decide that they need to work together to stop the Blood Witches before it's too late. And meanwhile, outside, Beatrix is like just minding her own business, trying to like decompress after a hella stressful day for her, and then is attacked by like a bunch of scrapers, and then it just cuts to credits.
Oh my
And
God.
so freaking sad for
So
Beatrix.
sad. Literally out there all alone too. She is the lone wolf. And I mean, as you and I know, we've seen those fate concepts where like Beatrix was originally going to have those wolf powers. So it really is just
Yes.
like reminiscent of
Oh.
that. And I love that shot too outside the gate where we get the side shot of Beatrix. Something
Mm-hmm.
about it, the landscape, the colors, it has to be like one of my favorite shots
Yeah.
in that episode because it was just so
Mm-hmm.
well balanced. I was just like, this is
Oh.
like
Ooh.
director moment here. This is it's a good
Yes.
shot. I love seeing the Althea forest like at night like that. So
Yeah, yeah, and that close too. I didn't realize how close the forest was to some parts of Althea, I think,
mhm.
until that shot, which is because we always see it like kind of in the distance when like they're trying
Yeah.
to touch the barrier and like whatever. And so, yeah, I really like that. But even just what I have issues with about this ending of this episode, same issue that I have with the house being burnt down and no one caring. We're
Mhm.
not gonna care about all of the shit that we've put Saul through. Dude got shot in the back with an arrow, multiple arrows, dove over a cliff. This man was gonna get sentenced to death, basically. And like, oh yeah, it's fine. Now we gotta beat all these blood witches. What? No,
Yep.
absolutely not. This felt this. This episode felt like such a whiplash because we've got Sam leaving abruptly. That's just plot armor for them to get Riven
With
into the
Yusa,
picture.
yeah.
And like with Misa. And then we've got, oh, it's okay, Saul. We need more faculty on staff because now we're going to introduce a new. It just feels very choppy. It feels very. I know that's misdirection so that the audience doesn't know what's coming next, but at the same time, it just feels rushed and it really feels like we needed that 8th episode. Like it really, really, really does.
Yeah, because
Like
it's so fast. Like everything in the
it's
show,
too fast. Yeah.
like but it's also like a blessing too, because if it weren't this fast and the show got canceled after 2 seasons, we
Oh.
would have so much less to talk about and so much less like Winx content to look back on later. So like, I am grateful in that sense that so much here that, I mean, even you and I rewatching this, we were seeing so much that we didn't see
If
before.
we just had, yeah,
So
exactly.
I guess it's nice in that sense, but I can see that the average viewer, no wonder so many people are confused watching this show. Like,
Yeah.
on the
I mean,
first
the
watch
first
alone.
season,
Yeah.
the first season did that like a lot. Like you can tell there was supposed to be another episode that they cut and they had to like piece together, like you said, like
3 other episodes.
yes, exactly. Like it was, you can tell with things like this, like it just feels very rushed. And I think, and I don't, obviously that is a creative choice. Ultimately spend your budget differently, get that, and it's things that have to happen with any creative project. Like you have to leave stuff on the cutting room floor, but it was just
when you
it's
have
felt, it's very felt in this
Mhm.
episode for sure.
And I think that like if you look at the episode times too, like they definitely film more than 60 minutes worth of content for each of these episodes.
Yeah.
And it gets condensed down, and some of these episodes get short. We're talking like 43 minutes, like 50 minutes, like they're cutting so much that they could have at least included to help this story a little bit like more, but I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, it's really sad, but
on that note though, I will say an important thing to note, and an important thing to note though about that whole scene is that Rosalind does tell Bloom that the blood witches kidnapped her as a baby because she had the dragon flame. She doesn't know where they came from, but the blood witches will. Now, whether or not Rosalind is telling the truth, we will find out later.
Right.
From another character, probably.
Yeah, probably. I don't
know. but yeah, I will say with the whole Silva thing, I think too, maybe like Rosalind at that point was like, oh, I can use Silva for an advantage if I really want to get to Bloom, because I know she has this power. Like I could see why she would pardon Silva, but at the same time, his entrance is just ridiculous. There could have been more build up to it. Like,
oh, absolutely.
We needed a little bit more explanation than just it's time to draw a line in the sand.
I hated that. No, it's not. There's so many things. You burnt down Silva's house. I can't get over. Yeah, now we're all just supposed to be okay with this as an audience. We're supposed to be on. I don't think that we're supposed to be. I think that art leaves the viewer to like determine how you want to feel about it. But and I don't think that the creators of Fate thought that, okay, now like the audience is totally gonna be on board. I know we're supposed to feel like, what the hell? But still, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right with me in my soul. Like I'm just like, and now this happens, and now this happens, and now this happens. And old farmer Greg, oh no. It just feels like very Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
And it's just
there's so much doing? Yeah, like it's fantasy adventure, mystery, suspense, thriller, horror, like everything.
Let's pick a lane.
Yeah. Like,
can we pick one for a minute? Just one episode. Anyway, but yeah, that's very funny. Oh my gosh. But that is the end of this episode. My God. There was a lot to cover in this episode. And I'm so excited for the next episode. You have no idea. There's even more. Like it just keeps getting deeper and it's just, man. But at the end of every Fate rewatch, we like to determine what our Fate Forever moment was, similar to our Winx Club rewatch where we do the Winx Forever moment. But these are going to be the like what our favorite moment was that reminded us most of the original series and that we enjoyed. So, Dane, what is your Fate Forever moment for this episode?
Mine is when all the girls are getting ready in the suite. I think that it's just, I just love the playful banter. And then of course it's sad with Beatrix like being like on the outside, but it's just like it's a nice refreshing moment that we get to see the girls have fun together,
Mhm.
bond, talk, share experiences, especially with
Yeah.
like how they're informing Bloom on like how the other world kind of is structured.
Yeah, and
So
it's very reminiscent of the actual Winx Club series. Of Bloom doesn't
mhm.
know a lot about the magical dimension because she just kind of
Yeah,
gets plopped into there, and so it is like reminiscent of that too, of like them telling her about the other world. Like I love that
yes. And
too.
it's
Oh,
right out
so
of that
true.
comic too. Like when
Yes,
Stella was,
yes.
yeah, going right into it. So
Ah,
it's just, it's oh, amazing.
yeah. Ah, I love that. Cute. I think for me, it's got to be their entrance to the banquet. It has to be. That
Yes.
shot is stunning. That one paired with when Bloom arrives with Rosalind and the little butterflies and everything. That's
hmm
gorgeous. And the simple nod to the Four Kids theme song opening. It's great. I
Yeah,
like
it's
it's
amazing.
perfect. Yeah,
Like
like
somebody could totally edit that over that. Oh.
I have chills. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. Well, some trivia before we head out for this episode. So, like we've said in the previous rewatches, each title for the episodes references some type of pop culture thing that has to deal with magic or witches or fairies or whatever. So for this one, your newfound popularity, it is actually a reference to the song Popular from the hit musical Wicked, of course, that deals with the witches from The Wizard of Oz. So I think that that is such a cute little note. And then obviously, this is also the last episode that we see Ben Harvey and Sam Harvey featured, which RIP our sweet
Oh my
kings.
gosh, so sad.
So sad. Sad.
Fun fact on that note, though, I think
Yes.
Jacob got on live at one point on Instagram and he did say that I think he said his contract was actually going to be for 3 seasons. So we may have seen him in season 3. I don't know if we
That
talked
is
about that on the
so
podcast.
sad.
Have we talked about that before?
I don't think so.
I think Abby had a contract for 5 seasons, and then other people had contracts for 3 seasons.
So they probably had to buy them out of those contracts, right? Is that how that works? If a thing gets canceled, or is that built into the
I
contract as
I
well?
don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know what the terms of that is or are. I would assume that it's built into the contract, but
right. But
yeah.
like I'm thinking like for a hockey player, like if you get signed on to a team for so many like years, like if you sign a contract for so many years, then if they decide to trade you somewhere else, they have to pay out that many years. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the
Yeah,
same for
because like it's job
actors.
security
Probably not.
too,
Yeah,
but I don't know.
exactly.
I think streaming is different too, especially with the
Yeah.
strike and all that. But there's all that they went into about like how streaming is
Yeah.
so different.
Yeah.
But
Man, I just
yeah.
outed myself as a hockey fan.
My
Man.
dad's a hockey fan too. It's all good.
Ah, incredible. Well, Dane, as always, this has been such a blast. I can't
Yes, thank
wait
you
for the
so
rest of the
much.
season. You guys definitely check out the wildest dreams music video that Dane's gonna make over on
I
his
need
TikTok.
Netflix to send over that footage in like 4K. Send me the HDR footage
Yes.
and I'll do it. But
You heard him, Netflix. Your move. Incredible. Well, guys, until the next Fate rewatch, I am Lola Valentine.
and I am JustDaneDane.
And this is the Winx Forever podcast. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode of the Winx Forever podcast, be sure to like or subscribe on your preferred streaming platform so that you're notified when new episodes drop. The theme for the Winx Forever podcast is the song She Makes Magic by Big Wild.